This novel is called My House of Horrors. By I Fix Air Conditioner. Chapter 12:01. I will give all the eyes that have gotten used to the darkness to get the chance to see light, 2 in 1. As his family betrayed him, the presence from the bloody hospital director grew stronger. The faces of his family members on his body started to twist and change. Multiple black threads were vomited out of his family's mouths. As the black threads came into contact with the broken bodies and limbs, they would come alive like someone had given them a second life. Everyone who died in heaven is my family. Their soul will never leave this place because this place is their only home. The hospital director's screeching laughter was mixed with the wailing of endless souls. One after another human faces floated from the pile of dead bodies. Their eyes were crying tears of blood, but all of their faces were frozen in that eerie and unsettling smile. This lowest level at the cursed hospital appeared to be a mass grave, a place where many people had lost their lives. The power of the curse started to increase in sudden intensity. The black fog seeped out from the very bottom of the building itself. The broken bodies that crawled out from the mountain of carcasses all crawled towards the bloody hospital director. They knelt under his feet, hugged his body, crawled upon him as they slowly swallowed the man with their mass. The whole hospital prison was filled with the director's laughter. Black fog swamped the place, endless dead bodies and curse were bound together. Bang, the sea of blood raised a wave that was more than 10 meters tall. A leg that was covered in human faces reached out from the sea of blood. The giant monster that was constructed by the dead, and the curse rose to its full height. Human beings' strongest emotion is pain. Happiness and bliss can be taken away in the blink of an eye, but only pain will be forever buried deep inside one's heart. Some people exhausted their whole life, and they could not be cured. Others turned into the monster that they hated the most, being tormented by the intensity of pain. Some have chosen to accept pain and taken control of the pain. They enjoy the feeling of their heart being shredded into pieces before finally become a monster themselves, whose sole purpose in the world is to spread pain unto others. A harsh voice came out from inside the monster's body. His whole body was wrapped in curse and misfortune. More and more dead bodies peeled off from his body, but soon more carcasses crawled towards him to replace those which had fallen. Pain will never end. Even death is not going to help absolve it, just like this endless stretch of black fog. The arm that was carved with black human names and faces slammed heavily into the sea of blood. It grabbed Chenji's parents that were tied down by the blood vessels with one fell swoop. The giant maw that was made up from broken limbs slowly opened. Just as it was prepared to send Chenji's parents down its throat, wreaths of black hair tied itself around its body. The black hair was like the ocean. Zhang Ye was not trying to attack any particular point. The girl who had already lost her mind currently wanted to bury this whole monster completely. The black hair crashed against the threads of curses, and Zhang Ye was not holding back. She was going to take the monster no matter the price. The hospital director's movement slowed down. Dr. Gao naturally would not give up such a precious opportunity. He leaped into the air, dragging several blood-red chains with both of his hands. Compared to several years ago, you have gotten a lot weaker. Have you been injured by no one's parents? Or the wound that you have suffered when you attempted to kill number 1 back, then still has not recovered? The chain shot into the hospital director's body. The other 2 demon gods at the cursed hospital wanted to rush over to help, but they were halted in their tracks by the painter and many other red specters. Both parties were consumed by the rage of war. As long as their soul had not been crushed, as long as they could still move, they would charge forward to demolish their enemy. All the red specters fought with their lives to buy even that 1 extra second. Currently, Zhang Ye and Dr. Gao were fighting 2 against 1. This was probably the most optimum outcome for Chen Ji's group to expect. Try your best and hold on. Once the cage of curse is shattered, the Red City will slam into the cursed hospital. The old headmaster cried out at the top of his lungs. The man who was always so kind had his eyes burn with fury once he saw the mountain of dead bodies at the bottom floor of the cursed hospital. From his perspective, he could not even wrap his head around the understanding of the person who would do something as cruel and preposterous as this. Every single red specter had their own power. Every single red specter had a pain that they had to shoulder on their own, buried deep inside their hearts. They were all ghosts, but do not forget that they were all once living humans. Because of the extreme pain that they were put under before they died, so they could empathize with others. And because of that empathy, it fueled their anger to see this travesty before them. Get out of the way! Do not stand in my way! The demon god that carried the cursed hospital was under the attack of who knew how many red specters. So many special powers were applied on his body, and this influenced his movement as well. He wanted to go and save the hospital director, but unfortunately other than the enormous amount of red specters, Chenji had more than a handful of top red specters who had sided with him. They had completely thrown their lives into the wind. They were not afraid of having their souls crushed and being unable to reincarnate into their next lives. All they wanted to do was to help Chenji and stop the tragedy before them. When he was facing the many red specters from the haunted house, the demon god that carried the cursed hospital had a wavering in his conviction. The statement given by Dr. Gao at the start of the battle pierced into his heart like a stubborn needle. So-called demon god was merely a ghost that could suffer more despair and pain. His conviction started to crack. The demon god that carried the cursed hospital on his back started to have other ideas slip into his mind, and they started to multiply at a rapid speed. It had reached a stage where even he could not control them anymore. It was the cursed hospital that turned me into a monster. I was nothing more than a patient who was trapped here to pay for my sin. I do not need to sacrifice my life for this damn hospital. These thoughts floated around in his mind, and as hard as he tried, he could not chase them out of his mind. As if compelled by the thoughts in his mind in the chaos of the battle, the demon god turned his head to look at Dr. Gao, who was standing quite a distance away from him. When his pair of eyes that were hiding behind the fog of darkness turned towards Dr. Gao, he was surprised to see that Dr. Gao was looking back at him as well. The power to influence a demon god's heart. This is his special talent. Just through that non-verbal exchange, more troubling thoughts entered the demon god's mind. By then his desire to kill had slowed down by a lot. He was no longer as savage as before. One party was fighting with no regard for their own lives, but the other party started to have questions regarding what he was doing. Even if there was a certain gap between their power level, the battle slowly drew into a stalemate. On the other side, the painter who had regained the approval of the School of Afterlife was also caught in a hard battle with the experienced demon god with the surname Kai. Currently, the only battle which was close to having its result revealed was the one in the center of the hospital. If Dr. Gao and Zhang Ye worked together was strong enough to take the hospital director, then all the tragedy would be wiped away instantly. The cruelest battle of the three was also the one in the middle. Blood sea churned and rolled, broken bits of flesh fell down like rain. Curse that would cause a normal person to die on the spot had formed a screen that blocked out the sky at this place. Being surrounded by the meat shield of endless dead bodies, Zhang Ye and Dr. Gao's attacks had very difficult problem of delivering actual damage on the hospital director. However, on the other hand, the monster that was constructed by the dead bodies were originally more than 10 meters tall, but currently it was only half its original size. The speed the hospital director recovered his body could not catch up to the speed Dr. Gao and Zhang Ye took them down. If this continued, success was only a matter of time. But right at that moment, Dr. Gao suddenly pulled his hands back and stopped the aggression. He noticed there was still some kind of connection between the flesh and meat that fell off the hospital director's body and the hospital director himself. But these broken pieces of flesh did not crawl back to reform the director's body, so there had to be some other fishy development at work here. You have discovered it so soon? No wonder you are the doctor that I have placed great faith in. Since he was exposed, the hospital director stopped hiding the truth. Just as he finished, the flesh that scattered on the ground soon dissolved into pools of black blood. This black blood was not blood from the hospital director's own body, but they were blood from another person. To control this different source of blood, the hospital had written down the most vicious curse that he knew on every single drop of the blood. Even though they were standing a safe distance away from the hospital director, both Zhang Ye and Dr. Gao could sense that the curse inherent in the black blood and the curse from the cursed hospital was on a completely different level. To curse the black blood, the hospital director appeared to have paid an extremely steep price himself. To be able to be kept as a final trump card by the demon god, that was proof enough how scary this black blood could be. To be personally killed by the person that all of you want to protect, there is no greater way to die in this world. Just imagine the pain that you will be in. Ha 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 ha. When the black blood appeared, Zhang Ye and Dr. Gao retreated at the same time. Chenji, who was switching his heart back at the battlefield, suddenly felt inexplicable pain that coursed through his body. He looked down the distance using yin-yang vision. The black blood that the hospital director had splashed on the ground appeared to be his. The black blood that was corrupted by curse turned into one after another boy in the next instant. They did not have any facial features. Every one of them maintained the state that they were in when they were brutally murdered. Laying his eyes on those boys, there was indescribable feeling that arose in his heart. The child that was hiding in his mind was also screaming in despair as well. Every time I killed him, he would leave behind a drop of his blood. He is the scariest ghost that I have ever encountered. Do not blame me because all the misfortune and tragedy started because of him." The hospital director appeared to have gone completely unhinged. "Since his parents cannot finish the deal, then I will do it on their behalf. I have appeared deep inside the nightmare. I have killed him, and again. I left him in the black fog. I buried him deep inside the heaviest despair the human world has ever seen. But every time I push open this door, there he will be." The boys that were cruelly murdered started to surround Zhang Ye and Dr. Gao from all sides. They were not demon gods, not even a red specter, but they were unkillable. It was as if they were the manifestation of despair itself. As long as despair existed in this world, they would never lay down and die. No one had encountered this kind of monster before. No one had to face this kind of adversary before. The situation was temporarily still on Zhang Ye and Dr. Gao's side. Chen Ji saw everything with his own eyes from afar. He was not going to wait for the situation to turn for the worse before he decided to make his move. He called after his own name as loud as he could inside his heart. "They call me the evil spirit, but in my mind, I am just Chen Ji. You have your own memory, and I have my past. I am not you, but I will never avoid your existence and pretend that you do not exist." Chen Ji's voice traveled into his own mind. "I will go to the Red City and find you, but you need to tell me now, how do I face these versions of myself who had died a tragic death?" Chen Ji came from the same origin as the Black Blood, but the presence that they off was several times darker than Chen Ji himself. The chance was the moment he got close to any of them, Chen Ji would be torn into pieces. Chen Ji was very good at interpersonal communication. He was born with an innate talent that could put other people at ease. With his summon, the other boy's voice rang out in Chen Ji's mind. "You are not an evil spirit, you are only Chen Ji that everyone cherishes and loves, but I am different. I am just a monster who once shared this name." As the voice in his mind echoed, Chen Ji felt the heart that he was holding beat harder. "I have already handed my heart over to you." Just as the boy spoke, Chen Ji had completed the last step of the living doll procedure, the change of heart. The heart that was stuck with the cursed blade was swapped out. The power of life and death circulated at the same time inside Chen Ji's body. "You have to remember to go back to that Red City and help me push open that blood door again." After the boy said that, Chen Ji slowly lost control over his own body. "This should be the last time I am going to take control of this body." The heart pulsed in his heart. Every heartbeat was like a drum heat that traveled from some ancient time. It reverberated with something that resided deep inside the Red City. The red waves smashed crazily against the cursed cage around the cursed hospital. One after another pair of eyes surfaced inside the city. Countless evil ghosts came to the edge of the Red City. The Red City had been expanding aimlessly inside the black fog. At that moment, the Red City was like a giant beast that had just awakened. Multiple scary presence were compelling the Red City to crash against the cursed hospital. "I love the term that you have used earlier. How do I face these versions of myself who had died a tragic death?" Chen Ji lowered his head to look at his own body. Several red specters were using blood vessels to stitch up his wounds. The red specters, who were embodiment of hatred, looked so particularly gentle around Chen Ji. Chen Ji stood up, an unfamiliar glow shining in his eyes. He walked through the cracked ground and stepped on the mounds of flesh and blood and looked towards the many versions of himself who had died. The children that had no faces were all victims of horrible crimes. Every inch of their body was covered in injury. They were bound by curse, and their skin was carved with venomous words. The black blood possessed some kind of special property in the world of black fog. They could never be killed when they were surrounded by the black fog. Even Zhang Ye and Dr. Gao knew to stay away from them. But Chen Ji voluntarily took steps towards them. The red specters that guarded beside Chen Ji at all times felt like they were standing on ice. They had no idea what their boss wanted to do, but they still chose to put their faith in Chen Ji, and they moved in accord with him. "From now on, I can do this on my own." Chen Ji turned around to look at the group of red specters around him. A warm and kind smile appeared on his face. This was a very natural expression. It felt as if the smile that hung on his face now was his true, real smile. Moving forward on his own, Chen Ji was soon discovered by the version of himself that were transformed by the black blood, but Chen Ji did not slow down. Memory came into existence because of human beings, but human beings had forgotten about them. They abandoned them in this world shrouded in black fog. If I was a memory, I too would desire to be remembered, but if a person is always dragged down by his past, then he will never be able to gain the courage to move forward. Once someone asked me if one day I too was forgotten at this place, what would I do? The answer that I gave him was. Chen Ji glanced at the hospital director that was wrapped in a coat of dead bodies. "I would draw window after window in that sea of dark and open door after door in that city of red, so that I will give all the eyes that have gotten used to the darkness to get the chance to see light. Hearing Chenji's voice, the hospital director nudged his gigantic body and he roared in disbelief. The kindness of patient number 1? Impossible. I have seen with my own eyes you have joined with the Red City. How could you still be here? Evil spirit, you have to be behind this. Kindness will never disappear. Even if only a shred of it is left, it will continue to shine through the long night. Chenji opened both of his arms and allowed the children morphed from the black blood to launch themselves at him. Strangely enough, whenever the kids touched Chenji, a face would flicker on their blank features. The heavier the wound on Chenji's body, the faster the wounds on the children's bodies were recovering. The curse on their bodies was unable to reverse this rejuvenation. All on his own, Chenji had attracted all the attention of the black blood. Dr. Gao resumed his attack on the hospital director. Zhang Ye though stared at Chenji's back and paused for a moment. The wounds on Chenji's body became more and more serious. The man had not recovered from his previous injury, but now he was once again sliding towards death. The red specters wanted to him, but Chenji stopped them. When all the wounds on the children's bodies were healed, they turned back into drops of black blood, but this time they did not return to the hospital director's side, but crawled into Chenji's body. Coming to terms with one's own past, even if one is made broken by it, there is always a chance for a new start. Chenji's body started to change again. The boy in his mind embraced all the curse in the black blood. Who would have thought the kindest soul would be there to save the evilest spirit? Burned by the curse, Chenji still maintained the gentle smile on his face. He looked down the Red City in the horizon and mumbled as if to himself, "In the future, please carry on the light on my behalf." Chapter 12:02, 9 seconds into the future, 2 in 1. The child in Chenji's mind and Chenji opened both of their arms together. Currently, the person who was controlling Chenji's body was him, and this would also be the last time he would utilize this particular physical body. "In the future, please carry on the light on my behalf," was the gentlest farewell from the boy. The resentment from the many deaths and the most vicious curse of the hospital director were all sucked away by the child. As his figure slowly faded away, the drops of black blood that represented Chenji's past had their colors slowly returning to normal. They became a new source of energy for Chenji's new physical body. The boy in his mind was slipping away. He seemed to sense that Chenji was struggling. At that moment, he had a serene smile on his face. "Many people are waiting for you, so do not let them wait for you for too long." At the last moment before the boy faded away, he carefully took out a warm and beating heart from his chest. "The owner of this heart is called Su Yin. To help you successfully escape from the hospital, he has abandoned everything that he is and only left this heart behind. I do not understand how a ghost will be able to trust a human so fully. Perhaps this is the reason you are the more suitable candidate to stay than I am." The boy's shadow placed Su Yin's heart in Chenji's mind, and then he slowly turned around. Chenji's body turned around alongside with him. He looked at the red specters surrounding him before his eyes focused on Chenji's parents who were entangled among the blood vessels. His lips opened, and his voice weakened. No one knew what he said at the very last moment. The boy who existed in the mind had perished alongside the most vicious curse and the most painful past. Everything felt as if they had never happened before. The only people in the world who had ever known of his existence, other than Chenji himself, was the hospital director who had gone totally insane. Chenji regained the control of his own body. Now he had a 100% compatibility of this new body. Perhaps the boy in his mind knew that only after he disappeared that Chenji would have the chance to finally welcome his new life. Chenji lifted his arm to wipe away the trace of tears on his cheeks. It was not Chenji who cried those tears. "Be it kindness or evil, they are both me. Why is there a need for such a clear separation?" Chenji had been trying to persuade the boy in his mind to say, but the latter appeared to have made up his mind already. He had been hiding for so long in the glass jars, seemingly only to wait for the arrival of this day. "The source of all the tragedy is the hospital director. This is the first time in my life I wish to destroy a person so intensely." Chenji did not feel too big of a change to his body, other than the fact that the few talents that he got had been given a scary upgrade. Other than the booming source of life in his body, there was also a deep sense of death, but these two forces formed a curious balance in his body, ensuring Chenji's survival. The passing of time behind the door and the real world was slightly different. The boy in Chenji's mind had vanquished the trump card, whom the hospital director had taken who knew how many years to make in just mere minutes. Ever since the real hospital director showed up, this was the first time the emotion of anger and anxiety appeared on his face. He still had no idea the child that represented Chenji's pure kindness had already dissipated. He kept on sending out various kinds of dangerous curses. Chen Ji's expression did not change that much. Due to his wealth of experience, he already came up with the solution that was most beneficial to himself without the need to do much thinking. He did not continue to move forward. He did not attack. He did not even say a word. He just stood there quietly. Chen Ji did not do anything at all, but he presented a great pressure on the hospital director, and it caused the director to be distracted. A part of the wounds on the hospital director's body should be left behind by my own kindness. I think I understand almost everything now. The hospital director knew that my past cannot be killed, so he lured out my consciousness and tricked me to join with the Red City. But he did not anticipate that to prevent myself from being affected by the negative emotions in the black fog, and to suffer the despair of the entire Red City. The past me would peel out all the evil spirits in my consciousness, and only leave my kindness behind to deal with the Red City. The evil spirit returned to the world outside the door to live a normal life, but the kindness stayed inside the door and slowly joined together with the Red City. The hospital director stole my body and tried to figure out a way to use it to control the Red City. My kindness figured out the ulterior motive of the hospital director, and perhaps at the same time he had multiple reasons that made it so that he could not leave the Red City. This last trace of kindness in my body, probably, was the last insurance that my past self has left behind, or perhaps this body has germinated a new consciousness of kindness. Chen Ji strung the various clues in his mind together as he tried to predict what had happened in the past. The hospital director had no idea what Chen Ji was doing. He had an innate apprehension of Chen Ji's kindness. He knew that child could never be killed no matter what. From his perspective, Chen Ji's kindness posed a far bigger threat than any demon god. While the hospital director was distracting, Zhang Ye and Dr. Gao joined forces to take down the enemy again. The black hair and chains are in essence more related to control, binding, and sealing. Even though you both are demon gods, your core talents are not powerful enough to deal fatal damage on me. The hospital director behind inside the monster that was formed from the dead bodies. As long as he stood on the blood sea, there would be endless bodies and broken limbs to repair his meat shield. Zhang Ye's black hair had limited the hospital director's movement so that he could not reach over to harm Chen Ji's parents. Other than her black hair, Zhang Ye had been using other kind of talents to attack the hospital director. Compared to Zhang Ye's brutality and viciousness, Dr. Gao was more like the calm before the storm. He merely used his chains to keep on piercing through the hospital director's body. Other than that, he did not expose any of his other talents. To kill the hospital director, we have to separate him from the mountain of dead bodies. Chen Ji saw through the key of the problem. He glanced at Dr. Gao. He realized during the battle, Dr. Gao kept using his chains to puncture the hospital director's body and then bind it to the ground. Narrowing his eyes, Chen Ji caught up to what Dr. Gao was planning to do. The battle of the three demon gods had reached its climax. At that moment, the inside of the cursed hospital had been fully shrouded in black fog. The endless dark fog rolled out from the most bottom layer of the hospital. The black fog that carried with it pain and despair leaked into the mountain of dead bodies and melted into the endless broken limbs. The presence that the director gave off became scarier. With the last shred of rationality that he was trying hard to retain, he attempted to swallow Chen Ji's parents into his stomach, but Zhang Ye had spent her life trying to stop that from happening. Eventually I will swallow all of you. High intensity of hatred and despair was submerged in the black fog. That kind of pure evil was something that even a red specter would be clever to shy away from, but the hospital director had been feeding on them madly. Black flowers that were shaped like a human skull bloomed on his flesh and blood. Carrying the darkest curse human being could ever create, they formed into one after another blood capillaries. The hospital director finally made his move. He ignored Zhang Ye, who had been seriously injured, and focused his full attack on Dr. Gao. The chains were being shattered one after another. The wounds on Dr. Gao's body became more serious, but Dr. Gao still did not use any of his talent. He just kept on slamming his chains into the ground and the hospital director's body. Have evolved into a demon god, the ghost must have gone through hundreds of battles already. The hospital director gradually realized the incongruity with what Dr. Gao was doing, and in response his attack on Dr. Gao became more intense. The human skull flowers blossomed and blood rained down. The attacks that were mixed with the most vicious curse fell consistently on Dr. Gao's body. Chen Ji, who was watching this from afar, knew that it was time for him to help Dr. Gao. Perhaps Dr. Gao still had a plan reserved, but Chen Ji did not dare to bet on that. That was too much at stake. Zhang Ye, distract that old coon, help buy some time. After hearing Chen Ji's voice, especially after hearing her name being called by Chen Ji, Zhang, who was at the verge of a mental breakdown, had a flash of sentience crossed her eyes. The blood under her feet rushed into her body, and the black hair that covered the sky instantly swallowed up the hospital director. You can always predict what I am thinking. To have you join the Ghost Story Society was the biggest bet that I have ever done when I was still alive. Dr. Gao took a gander at Chen Ji. He pulled out another round of chains from inside his body. These chains not only bound around his body, they originated from his very own organs. The scene where Dr. Gao yanked out the chains from his own body sent chills down the spine of everyone who was watching. The chains that were soaked with the blood of a demon god were pulled out from Dr. Gao's body. He stopped putting on the disguise and directly slammed the last few bloody chains into the ground. When the last chain pierced through the mountain of dead bodies, all the chains pulled taut at the same time. As Dr. Gao pulled his arm upwards, the monster that was the hospital director screamed in pain. His giant body was dug out from the flesh that was connected to his lower body. The hospital director was finally separated from the mountain of dead bodies. Gao Ming, the howl of a desperate man came out from the hospital director's lips. After he left the mountain of dead bodies, the hospital director's scary self-recovery power could no longer be used anymore. Director, you are too narrow-minded and have too high of a confidence in yourself. That was why I managed to have the chance to escape several years ago. Dr. Gao walked on the blood-red chains. The madness in his eyes could not be hidden anymore. And you have failed for the same reason this time. My whole body is bound with sealing chains, but who gave you the idea that my very own talent has to be limited to the chains only? Dr. Gao peeled away the bloody coat that covered his body. He yanked out the last chain that wound around his heart. He had lost all constraint. His presence grew to a terrifying state. I have never lost because no matter the time, no one will be able to see through my heart. All the chains had been removed. Dr. Gao's rationality had been completely swallowed. Powerful and scary red shadows struggled behind him. Listening to their screams and wails, Dr. Gao's eyes turned fully red. He aimed right at the center of the chains and launched a punch at it. Blood prison, the chains pulled tight. Like surging dragons, they did not let go of any corner and bound themselves tightly around the hospital director who had been hiding inside the monster's body. You have searched for me for 10 years, and now I am standing right before you. Numerous black tattoos appeared on Dr. Gao's arm. The tattoos were not curse, and they were not blood vessels of a red specter. They scorched Dr. Gao's skin and used a demon god's flesh and blood as nutrients. They gave off a spine-tingling sense of despair. Stepping on the chains, Dr. Gao did not waste any time with words. The arm that carried his despair for the past 10 years directly squeezed through the hospital director's neck. Simple and savage, he knew that the hospital director would not perish so easily. With the intention of absolute destruction, Dr. Gao, who had lost his mind, attacked madly at the hospital director. Every single one of his punch landed on the hospital director's body. A bone-piercing hatred, a history that was painted by pain and despair. All the pain that he carried was unloaded in that very moment. The whole cursed hospital was shaking. One could no longer differentiate between the sky and the earth. All around them there was blood rain and curse. Every single red shadow behind Dr. Gao represents a red specter. Just how many red specter this man has swallowed while he was inside the Red City? Seeing the state that Dr. Gao was in, Chen Ji slowly narrowed his eyes. When they were fighting the shadow at Liwan City, Dr. Gao had been bound by the chains. Even until the shadow was split open, he still did not remove the chain. Be it at the underground morgue or at Liwan City, Dr. Gao always has full confidence. He is one hell of a scary enemy. Chen Ji also thought Dr. Gao's power was his chain and seals. He did not expect the existence of these chains was merely so that Dr. Gao would not lose control of himself. Chen Ji once again had a new understanding of the words that Dr. Gao said at the underground morgue. At the time, Dr. Gao had the chance of winning, but he had made a different choice. No wonder he is the former chairman of the Ghost Story Society. There is still many things that I can learn from him. The hospital director's physical body was found, and it was being given a pummeled by Dr. Gao. Chen Ji's heart slowly relaxed, but just as he was about to sigh in relief, he suddenly realized that even though the hospital director's body was covered in holes, the curse and black fog around the cursed hospital did not have the sign of fading. If anything, they appeared to get thicker. A bad omen rose in his heart. Chen Ji was about to yell to remind everyone to be careful, when a half of a broken skull flashed before his eyes. Shiguo! Through the half of the face that remained on the skull, he barely recognized the young man. Even though this specter was not a red specter, he had a very unique special power, control over time. He was able to return to 9 seconds ago. Boss, have everyone stay away from that monster now. Number 5 is about to explode soon. His lips creaked open, and Shigyu used his last energy to shout out the following. Number 5, explode. Chenji followed Shigyu's gaze and saw the demon god that carried the cursed hospital on his back. His mind snapped into realization in less than a second. Everyone, I need you all to retreat now. Stay away from that demon god from the cursed hospital. Chenji was familiar with Shigyu's power. When he saw the gory state that Shigyu was in, he made the decision at the first notice. He had full trust in his employees, and his employees had implicit trust in him as well. Without asking for any reason, all the red specters retreated swiftly. Almost at the same time, the hospital director, who was almost beaten into a pulp by Dr. Gao, suddenly expanded. A low growl of a voice leaked out from the director's throat. Patient number 5, you are my own flesh and blood, and the first patient at this hospital. The time has come for you to repay everything I have done for you. Every single word that the hospital director said carried a horrible curse with it. After he said that, the demon god that carried the cursed hospital gradually slowed down. Director, the body kept on expanding. The demon god's lower body that was covered by endless broken limbs and the black fog was finally exposed. 3 dangling carcasses in patient's garb were biting tightly on his stomach. The patient's body already joined with the demon god's skin, and only the number on their patient's garbs were shown, 6, 7, 8. This monster that carried the cursed hospital on its back appeared to be patient number 5 at the hospital, and at the same time he was blood-related to the hospital director. As the director triggered the curse, the 3 bodies let go off their mouth. With a creepy smile on their faces, they kept repeating the same statement, "Come and die with us." Then their skin started to crack. The 3 bodies bit at the demon god's heart at the same time. Endless curse was injected into it. Patient number 5, this demon god that was basically Frankenstein, had started to disintegrate with an enormous amount of hatred. The scary energy directly destroyed the cursed cage above them instantly. The hospital split open from the middle, and the buildings near the building from the Red City were instantly leveled into the ground. Everything happened too suddenly. If Shigyu did not give the warning 9 seconds ago, all of Chenji's employees who were close to patient number 5 would be wiped away in an instant, and the painter as well as Zhangya who were close to patient number 5 would be severely injured. The borrowed time of 9 seconds meant that most of the red specters survived the ordeal, but they were barely hanging on by a thread. Other than the red high heels, all the specters, including top red specters, were heavily injured by number 5's curse. If the curse was not removed soon, having their souls burn away into nothingness was just a matter of time. The dismemberment of the demon god turned the battle around almost instantly. Both Zhang Ye and the painter were affected. Only Dr. Gao was saved because he dragged the hospital director's body to use as a meat shield before him right before the second of explosion. That was the cleverest solution in that scenario, and the hospital director knew that was the choice Dr. Gao would make. Therefore, he had been collecting energy before he triggered the curse. When the burst of energy came from number 5's death, he unleashed all of his stored energy and shook loose from Dr. Gao's shackles. Chapter 1203, The Vow to Stay Together 2 in 1. The black heart of patient number 5 was bitten into pieces by other patients. At the last moment before his soul was vanquished, the memory that was locked deep inside his heart was revealed. It was not my fault for killing my wife. It was that monster's fault, and it was the hospital director who planted the monster inside my body, so at the end of the day, it was all the hospital director's fault. I know how ironic all these are, me, the person whose hands are covered with blood and the soul is branded by sin. The first time I committed a murder was to pretend to be a monster. At the time, I still had no idea once certain things are put into motion, they will be impossible to stop anymore. All of the night doctor's reaction was within Dr. Gao's prediction. This was the first time I was sent into the deepest part of hell while I was fully conscious. Opening the eerily black steel door, I saw a monster that carried the whole cursed hospital on its back. It was moving inside the endless black fog. It had a face that was not so dissimilar from a normal person. I did not dare to glance at it. My body could not control itself from shaking. The black fog slowly awakened the monster inside my body. It swallowed me up little by little. I knew there was no return then. Patient number 5 was being dismembered. Everything that he had ever consumed from inside the black fog exploded everywhere. The broken limbs and pieces that were filled with curse, despair, and impurity could not be absorbed by any baleful specters, but there was a person present who was the sole exception. His physical body seriously injured, and the mountain of bodies under his feet shattered into uselessness, the hospital director finally made his decision. First thing that he did after he broke out from Dr. Gao's shackle was to start madly absorb the black fog that was left behind by patient number 5. There existed a unique bond between him and patient number 5. It appeared like he had already planted his own children into patient number 5's body a long time ago, and this allowed him to take over everything that was left of patient number 5 at an easier rate. Due to the severe injury to his body, the hospital director was unable to leave the mountain of bodies. This was the only way he could use to continue to feed on the black fog. He had patient number 5 consume the things from inside the black fog on his behalf. Patient number 5 was an individual person, but in the hospital director's eyes, he was nothing more than a pawn. The body melted together with the black fog. No trace of humanity was left on the hospital director. He had turned into a veritable monster. Most of the specters and red specters were infected by curses. There were 3 top red specters who were heavily injured. Even Zhang Ye and the painter were influenced by this. The battle was turned around, and to make things worse, Chenji had no confidence that they could kill the hospital director after the transformation that he had gone through. The hospital director, who had surrendered himself to the black fog, radiated a very scary presence. He appeared to be a child of this black fog. Standing before him gave one a feeling that one was fighting the entire sea of black fog. How does one assimilate into the black fog? Chenji knew how difficult it would be to take down the hospital director. His brain was trying its hardest to figure out the method to kill the hospital director. Dr. Gao, Zhang Ye, and the painter stood together. The 3 demon gods stared at the hospital director. We cannot give up on our aggression, because if we switch to defensive mode, we will only get more and more cornered. But how are we supposed to kill him? The weakness of a demon god is his here, but the problem is a demon god can choose to hide his heart away from his body. Dr. Gao's eyes swapped between pure red and black and white while he spoke. After he dropped that information, he turned to look at Zhang Ye and Chen Ji. I have an idea that might help us find the hospital director's heart. I do not intend to use it initially, but now I do not think we have any other choice. What idea is it? I have personally built the Ghost Stories Society from the ground up. Every single society member was hand-picked for a reason. All of their power can be used against the hospital director. Dr. Gao spoke very fast. The member that I valued the most has a pair of twin red spectre. Even though the twins are just normal red specters, they have a very unique power, heart connectivity. The demon god has the ability to hide away his heart, and heart connectivity is the solution that I have specially prepared for this occasion. As long as one forces one's heart to bind with the hospital director's heart, then one will be able to sense the location of each other's heart. Dr. Gao opened both of his arms. In other words, during that instant, both demon gods who had their hearts connected would have the ability to go after the other's point of weakness and tear them down. But aren't all the members of the Ghost Story Society long dead already? Chen Ji remembered very clearly, of all the members of the Ghost Story Society, only the 2 chairmen remained. Your wife, Zhang Ye, has a talent that I have not encountered before in my life. She can take away the power from other specters and use them to her own will perfectly. When I fought with her at Liwan City against the Shadow, I noticed she has already mastered the talent of the Red Spectre twin, heart connectivity. In fact, she even connected her heart with yours so that she could protect you at all times. It was this power that she relied on to be able to awaken from her slumber at the most crucial moment every time to help you. Dr. Gao admired Chen Ji deeply. He did not wish to become Chen Ji's enemy. The relationship between them was that simple. But if Zhang Ye used this power on the hospital director, doesn't that mean that the hospital director will know about the location of Zhang Ye's heart as well? Yes, when a demon god uses this power, it will be far more effective than when a red spectre uses it. Technically, both parties will be given a mastery of each other's pulse of life, and thus it will become a contest of speed, who will kill whom first. The things that Dr. Gao said were heard by Zhang Ye and the painter as well. Don't even think about putting Zhang Ye in harm's way. I will not allow that to happen. Chen Ji rejected it firmly. The Red City is approaching. If we drag this out further, the situation might change again. The hospital director is joining himself with the black fog. Before the process reaches its completion, now is the only chance we have to kill him. If we wait any longer, he will only hide his heart inside the black fog, and that will make it impossible to find. Dr. Gao only had 2 obsessions in his life. One was to revive his wife, and the second was to kill the hospital director of the cursed hospital. Now that he was only a step away from completing his dream, naturally he was not going to give it up so easily. You do not really understand the danger that the hospital director poses. He is different from a normal demon god. If you allow him to slip away, you will be in great danger in the future. Dr. Gao pointed at himself. I am the perfect example. The power of curse is the most vicious vow in this world. Once you are targeted by him, you will not be able to escape forever, not ever after death. Seeing how determined Chen Ji was, Dr. Gao switched up his tact and turned to Zhang Ye instead. He told her directly, "You have fought with the hospital director before, so you should know about the difference of power between him and all of us. When the injuries on the director's body recover, do you still think you can protect the people around you? You have already taken away the talent of heart connectivity. Now it is the time for you to make the choice." Turning back to glance at Chen Ji, Zhang Ye, who was at her limit, raised her hand. She stood before Chen Ji, and her pale fingers tapped lightly on Chen Ji's chest. "Zhang Ye, there are still other methods." The slender fingers danced on Chen Ji's skin, and a blood-red twine that bound them together snapped. In that moment, Chen Ji felt like he had been thrown away from Zhang Ye. Even though they were literally standing before each other, it felt like it was impossible for him to reach her no matter how hard he tried. Pulling her hand back, Zhang Ye's eyes stared at the black fog that the hospital director morphed into, and then directed the heart string into the fog. At basically the same time, the hospital director, who was combining with Chen Ji, turned to stare at Chen Ji. The pair of cursed eyes spoke of the intention of kill. "How come I can sense your beating heart?" The hospital director appeared to understand something right at that moment. He ignored the process of assimilation and directly the endless black fog to press at Chen Ji. Since he could sense the location of Zhang Ye's heart, then Zhang Ye could very well know where his heart was hiding as well. This was the biggest secret of a demon god, one that must not be exposed under any circumstance. To prevent Zhang Ye from finding his heart, the only solution that he could come up with was to kill Zhang Ye as soon as possible. "So, have you found it?" Dr. Gao and the painter stopped the hospital director together, but at that moment Kai came to interrupt them. Zhang Ye's bloody dress fluttered in the wind. She stared straightly into the black fog, but she still could not locate the hospital director's heart. By then the hospital director had already made Chen Ji into his attack target. She guarded before Chen Ji, staring into the black fog that shrouded the entire sky. The black fog seemed to roll endlessly down the horizon. Zhang Ye could only guess a general director. A shrill shout came out from her mouth as her pale arms suddenly plunged into Chen Ji's shadow. "Zhang Ye," the arms pulled, and Zhang Ye dragged out a beating heart from deep inside Chen Ji's shadow. She had been hiding her own heart inside Chen Ji's shadow. This was a manifestation of her promise to Chen Ji that she would stay by his side forever. Her 5 fingers dug into her own heart. The demon god's heart started to bleed. When Zhang Ye's heart was injured, the hospital director gave off a pained scream as well. The black fog churned. A thick stench of blood drifted out from an unassuming corner inside the cursed hospital. Zhang Ye held her own pierced heart, and her eyes were fiery red. Found it. The hospital director did not place his own heart on his body. After getting the hint from Zhang Ye, Dr. Gao did not hesitate and burst towards that direction at full speed. He had never felt himself being so close to completing his own dream before. The murderous intent that he gave off was so great that it was almost palpable. The hospital director, who was close to binding himself to the black fog, had really panicked this time. If his heart was swallowed, then there was truly no saving grace for him. The arm that was burning with the black tattoo pushed away the black fog. Dr. Gao finally spotted the location where the hospital director had hidden his heart. It was at an inconspicuous corner at the lowest floor of the hospital. There was an old and well-used wooden altar that was placed there. There was a doctor's coat and a patient's garb that were placed inside the altar. The heavy smell of blood came from this altar. This is the hospital director's heart. Dr. Gao made the decision in a split second. He unleashed all of his force on the altar. Whether this was the right place or not, he would destroy it first and then study it later. Before Dr. Gao could get any closer to his target, the maddened hospital director controlled the black fog to slam at him. Endless monsters that were hiding inside the black fog were squashed and flattened. The deepest despair morphed into chains and bound around Dr. Gao's body. "Gao Ming, I will not give you the second chance anymore." After saying that, the altar deep inside the cursed hospital was enveloped by a thick layer of black fog. As the hospital director combined with the black fog, his heart was also slowly disappearing. Be it Red Spectre or Demon God, they had their own hearts. But at this dangerous moment, the hospital director could not dawdle any longer on the details. He needed to dissolve his own heart into the black fog, just like how Chen Ji's kindness had completely assimilated himself into the Red City. He had already given up the intention to be human a long time ago, but now he had given up even the right to be a ghost. Since I am unable to control the city deep inside the nightmare, then I shall become the demon who spreads curse and despair inside the sea of fog. I will use my own method to correct this sickened world. The wooden altar cracked under pressure. The speed by which the hospital director was joining with the black fog was getting faster and faster. At that moment, the painter was held back by Kai. Zhenya was focused on using the power of heart connectivity, and for that purpose, she had even voluntarily damaged her own heart. The only demon god among the three who was still mobile was Dr. Gao, but the hospital director was stopping him using the entire sea of darkness. It made it impossible for him to even budge a little bit. All the demon gods have been halted, but there is still a chance. Chenji still had not given up. He called after the only specter who could move freely through the curse, the red high heels. The pair of ghost and man hurried towards the altar. The hospital director thought it was still kindness who was controlling Chenji's body, so he was extremely apprehensive of him. He split out as much black fog as he could afford to stop Chenji. But just as he turned all of his attention onto Chenji, the lowest level of the cursed hospital suddenly collapsed. Deep inside the blood sea, a drop of blood that looked no different from the blood around it suddenly transformed into a man wearing a red coat. He carried a red key in his hand and used the fastest speed to run through the black fog. When they saw the man, both the hospital director and Chenji revealed extremely shocked expression, and they called out at the same time. Number 2. Dad. Without stopping for a moment, the man in the red coat appeared to have been waiting for a long time in the blood sea for this moment, for a very, very long time already. He had hidden himself away for 10 years, just waiting for this opportunity. The red key in his hand plunged directly into the altar. When it touched the patient's garb and the doctor's coat inside the altar, endless spirits wailed for mercy. Many cursed faces of people and ghosts escaped from inside the altar. The fine blood vessels weaved together with the curse. Then the key felt like it had unlocked a lock inside the soul. The patient's garb and doctor's coat inside the altar were shredded into pieces. The altar exploded, and the memory fragments hidden by the hospital director were released all at the same time. You are a child born inside a mental asylum. Your mother is a certified madwoman, and your father does not to have anything to do with UL. You are a cursed seed. No one will like you. What is the point of being a good student? You can't even keep the flowers that you are supposed to keep alive. Why do you always come to school so dirty? Do you know teachers dislike children who lie the most? It was him who hit my son. Get his parents to come to school. Oh, so he is an orphan, no wonder then. Why would you want to study medicine? You won't be able to save yourself. After all, no one will be willing to mentor a madman. I heard you like her. I am so sorry, but she is my girlfriend now. Why do you always have so many questions? There are things in this world that are not meant to be answered. It is time to grow up. We have gone through your resume. Even though your result is one of the best, but we value both personality and academic prowess, and in our case, we value former than the latter. I am sorry, but I will have to ask you to leave. You have no qualification to become a doctor. Why don't you go and treat your own illness first, you monster? The warmth and chill of the human world, the pictures from memory shattered in the air. The child in the memory slowly grew up into an adult. Time left its stamp on him, and the seed of the curse germinated in his heart. He became more and more secluded from the world, and more people around him referred to him as a monster. Finally, one day, his heart was completely taken over by the roots of the curse. At that moment, he had transformed into a real monster. He had hidden away all of his real thought, and would stop at nothing to reach his own goal. He had turned into a real monster, but even after that, he still felt isolated from the world. In fact, the people around him stopped calling him a monster anymore. It was right at that moment that he understood something. He was not the one who was the monster in the first place. It was the world who was sick. It was the world who was inhabited by monsters. He needed to work harder to act more like a normal person than a normal person. He obtained a career, trust, love, and family. He had gained everything, but in its place, he had lost his most normal self. Tragedy was still happening, but no one suspected he had anything to do with the tragedies. He thought he knew about the truth of the world until the birth of his first son. Chapter 1204, A Song 2 in 1. The arrival of the child turned the hospital director's world contradictory. His life goal was the exploration of questions related to death, but he rarely spent his life on the pondering of life. No matter where a person went, he would be heading towards death. Therefore, before this, the hospital director had always believed that by studying the length of death, he would eventually get to the bottom of the truth about life. His unique childhood experience turned him into a monster. Curse had already inhabited every inch of his body, binding around his nerves and swimming in his blood vessels. But when a man like that was faced with his own child, the heart that was ugly and filled with scars started to beat rapidly. Whenever he saw his own child, there would be two voices inside his head. One of them would be telling him the child was a present given to him by death, but the other voice would be saying, the child was the extension of his life. The hospital director could not convince himself, and the sound of argument in his head grew louder and louder, so loud, in fact, that it had seriously impacted his disguise. After tasting the sweetness that came from his own disguise, the hospital director refused to be treated as a monster anymore. He tried his best to hide his own symptoms, but that only made him turn even more conflicted and divided within himself. He could not mediate it within himself. It had expanded beyond the question related to his own child. No matter what he was thinking, there started to be opposing thoughts in his mind. Take, for example, on the issue of how to treat himself, one voice was telling him that he should take the treatment by admitting that he was sick. He was the monster that people had been saying that he was. The other voice, though, goaded him to murder his own child, to solve the problem from its core. The hospital director's action became stranger and stranger. In the morning, he wore the doctor's coat, helping the patients with their pain and despair. But at night, after he returned home, he would put on the patient's garb and locked himself up in his room to consult his own reflection in the mirror. Slow but surely his wife noticed the anomalies around him, and it was then that the most contradictory moment showed itself before the hospital director. The voice that represented humanity in his mind told him that the best solution to this problem was to admit his problem to this family, admit that he was sick and cooperated fully with the doctors, but doing that would mean sacrificing the current family that he had. He knew his wife very well. He knew his wife loved the version of himself who was the handsome, professional doctor who had a bright future and who was famous within the industry. Once he gave the admission that he was sick, then he might lose both his career and his family. The other voice in the hospital director's head kept tempting him, telling him to ignore the opinion of those monsters. After all, this was a sickened world. He only needed to continue to put on the disguise like he used it. If humanity made him feel confusion and pain, then the only solution was to squash the last trace of humanity within him. If he wanted to be a human, then he might lose everything that he had in his possession so far. But if he continued to be a monster, he would continue to enjoy his current bliss and happiness. The hospital director did not come to any quick decision. His soul was a battlefield of contradiction, until one day the seed of the curse rooted and grew. It bloomed into a black-colored flower in his heart. That night, he had a dream. In the dream, he was wearing a patient's garb lying in bed, and there was a version of himself wearing a doctor's coat standing before the mirror inside the bedroom. They had the same face, but one was the patient and the other the doctor. The hospital director, who wore the patient's garb, represented the last remaining humanity and rationality in the man, while the hospital director in front of the mirror had already been fully consumed by curse and negative emotions. Kindness and sin had nothing to do with strength and weakness. In the dream, the patient that represented humanity was being treated by the doctor who was filled with curse and malice. The most tragic thing was as the humanity was slowly being treated, the malice slowly took over the rest of the hospital director's body. The hospital director kept repeating the same recurring dream. His schizophrenic symptoms became more serious. Slowly his soul was also torn into two. The hospital director started to have trouble differentiating between dream and reality. He had no idea whether he was lying in bed next to his wife or whether he was lying down in his dream. In any case, no matter the situation, he would always see the other version of himself in the doctor's coat, wreathed in malice. Gradually, he started to suspect whether another version of himself had also started to appear in real life. From his consciousness to his soul and body, the hospital director realized that he seemed to have split into two persons. Both of these persons were him, but they were the complete opposite of each other. One was evil and the other was kindness. One had committed many unforgivable sins, the other kept punishing himself due to the guilt from the actions that he had done. One was filled with despair, convinced that he was the god of this sickened world, while the other just wanted to be a simple human, desperate for the simple bliss. The hospital director in the doctor's coat who represented the curse trapped the hospital director in the patient's garb inside the nightmare. He did not demolish his own humanity, but instead chose to completely isolate it from the rest of the world. The hospital director, who only had negative emotions and evil intention left in his heart, turned fully into a monster with the skin of a human being. The evil spurt in his body stopped behind, held back by shackles of morality. The cursed flowers blossomed in his heart and gave off the mist of black fog. The hospital director in the doctor's coat had no idea what the black fog represented. It was the first time he had encountered the black fog that was so filled with despair and death in real life. Without the bondage of humanity, the action of the hospital director in the daylight became completely flawless. He was a demon who was in the perfect human disguise. He was made up from evil and curse, but he shrouded himself in a disguise of humanity and rationality. The patients who did not realize the truth thought he was a kind doctor. His colleagues saw him as the perfect superior, and his wife believed he was the perfect husband. The hospital director in the doctor's coat would only shed his disguise before his newborn child. The arrival of the new life was the base reason that caused the split in the hospital director. So the hospital director, who was constructed from curse, was filled with curiosity with regards to this child as well. He started to conduct treatment and experiment on his own child. His own flesh and blood became his first actual patient in the true sense of the word. In his endless trials, the hospital director discovered the existence of the black fog. This black fog was born deep inside the nightmare, and it spread using the medium of human heart. Its basic essence was the memories that human being most reluctant to face. It was made up from forgotten pain and despair. The discovery of the black fog made the hospital director over the moon. He felt for the first time he had come into contact with the actual world. He originally thought that this was the unique power given to him by the cursed seed. Only he could see the black fog, and he was supposed to bridge the black fog into the real world. But in his later experiment, when he placed his own child in the black fog, the life that was as pure as a sheet of white paper started to crumple and pollute under the invasion of the black fog. The cursed seed was also sown in the heart of the newborn, and it started to spread the black fog on its own. It was then that the hospital director slowly realized everyone had some amount of black fog in their own heart. As long as the method was correct, everyone could become the bridge to spread the black fog into the world. The hospital director in the doctor's coat started to collect the black fog in the dark. He enjoyed the process of spreading the tragedy and despair while at the same time enjoy the admiration from being hailed as the people's savior. It was the man who incited the pain. It was also the man who provided the salvation. And it was also the same man who ultimately sent his patients down the road of no return. This kind of lifestyle proceeded for a very long time until his child slowly grew up and turned into a deformed monster. The child, who did not know the necessity of disguise, almost exposed the hospital director's secret. To ensure his own survivability in the darkness, the hospital director personally ended the life of his own child, but before killing his own child, he sent his child's consciousness deep inside the black fog in his heart. There was a problem that had been of interest to the hospital director. What was the source of the black fog? Using the monsters that he personally cultivated, the hospital director saw a sea of black fog at the deepest part of his nightmare. All the despair in the world was collected here. They were forgotten by human beings, but they would never disappear. The sea of fog was filled with monsters that would only appear in one's nightmare. Other than that, there were plenty of lost souls. The hospital director's interest in this world continued to grow. He believed this was his place of birth. After all, he was the physical manifestation of despair. He was no longer satisfied with using his child's consciousness to enter the sea of fog, and so he started to use different patients and enter the sea of fog through the bridge in the bottom of their hearts. After about a year, he ran into a patient from Jiujiang. The young man named Chen Zio was in a deep coma because he tried to save someone from a car accident. The man who was saved by Chen Zio had the surname Luo. He came from a family of merchants. To save Chen Zio, he spent a lot of money to hire the best doctors in the country, and among the group of doctors, there was the hospital director. The hospital director in the doctor's coat attempted to enter the black fog through Chen Zio's heart, but after he succeeded, he was shocked to realize that the patient was standing at the edge of the world of the black fog. One of his side was covered in black fog, heavy in despair, while the other side was a city built from blood and flesh. If the black fog was the amalgamation of pure despair and pain, then the red city was the only hope that should not be called as hope that existed in the world of the black fog. When a piece of despairing memory was forgotten, the despair and pain among it would morph into black fog, while the last remaining shred of desire and struggle would slip into the red city. The black fog was filled with ghastly and scary monsters, while the red city was populated by wounded individuals. The hospital director saw the uniqueness of this patient. He believed he must be hiding some kind of secret. He searched out Chen Zia. After conducting multiple experiments, he realized only his own consciousness could leave the world successfully. He could not bring Chen Zio with him. After giving it much contemplation, the hospital director in the doctor's coat believed perhaps the reason of this was due to the existence of the hospital director in the patient's garb. He was the first person who had the contradictory consciousness in his mind. The hospital director in the doctor's coat walked around the edge of the red city, but the other hospital director was trapped somewhere else. There was still an unbreakable bond between them. The hospital director in the doctor's coat shared his own treatment method with Chen Zio. To split out the opposing spirit, Chen Zio went through a torment that was beyond the imagination of the human consciousness in the Red City and Black Fog. Ultimately, the consciousness of the young man was split apart. The side who still had the humanity remained was called Chen Zio. The other side, who was bound by the Red City and filled with negative emotion, was named as Chen Xiang. The moment the personalities were split, the hospital director in the doctor's coat dragged Chen Zio out of the Red City, while the savage and brutal Chen Xiang, who could never be controlled, was left behind in the Red City. When they returned to the real world, the hospital director started to gain an enormous interest in Chen Zio. He wanted to know why Chen Zio's heart would be connected to the edge of the Red City. He observed the man in the dark and recorded everything. No one knew that he was a demon in the disguise of a human. Several years later, the child of Chen Zio was born. The child possessed a pair of blood-red eyes. It appeared as if he could see right through into people's heart, and he could see many things that a normal adult could not. Other children would be crying, but this boy would always be smiling, as if there was nothing in the world who would be able to make him sad. Chen Zio knew why his child was so different from the others. To escape from the Red City, he had paid too hefty of a price, and it included having the negative emotions shatter his body again and again, and experiencing the despair that the human world could never imagine. Looking at the newborn in his embrace, studying the pure and innocent smile on his face, Chen Zio gave his own boy a name that carried with it a very unique meaning, Chen Ji Song. The world kissed me with pain, but I shall repay it with a song. As he grew up, more and more anomalies appeared around Chen Ji. He would enter the world of the Black Fog in his sleep, but he would promptly return to the real world when he awakened. He met different kind of people and seen many different types of ghost. Perhaps it was his bloodline, or perhaps it was because of his father. Even if Chen Ji's consciousness was not split, he could walk through the Red City, Black Fog, and the real world freely, and this was all captured within the hospital director's eyes. The hospital director in the doctor's coat had a special patients list. He had listed Chen Ji as patient number 2, Chen Xiang trapped in the Red City as patient number 2, and Chen Zio in real life as patient number 3. He had been in disguise for decades, but he still had not been exposed. This fed into the hospital director's ambition. He wanted to cure this sickened world from its core. He started to interact with Chen Ji behind his parents' knowledge. He wanted to use Chen Ji's power to bring the despair and pain people had forgotten back into the human world. As the cursed seed, he had complete faith that the world of the Black Fog was the true world, and the real world was merely a sick disguise. The hospital director approached Chen Ji carefully. He used the experience that he had garnered through the decades to help Chen Ji open a blood door in the Red City. The door connected the Red City and real life, even though it only lasted for a short period of time, but it had already given the hospital director enough hospital. He kept having encounter with Chen Ji in the Red City and the Black Fog. In the end, he triggered the alarm from Chen Zio. But to complete his own plan, the hospital director did not mind such detail. In fact, a crazy thought had appeared in his mind. He wanted to split Chen Ji's consciousness into kindness and evil. He would leave kindness with Chen Zio, but he would take the evil away with him. To create this contradictory consciousness, he started to madly torment Chen Ji in the world of Black Fog, but he still could not succeed. All he had to show for it was the pursuit from both Chen Zio and Chen Xiang. Seeing as his plan was being exposed, he decided to bring all the monsters that he had created to Jiujiang and kidnapped Chen Ji. The hospital director would stop at nothing to bring out Chen Ji's consciousness. He murdered Chen Ji again and again, but even so he still failed. No matter what he did to Chen Ji's consciousness, he could not tear apart or even kill Chen Ji's consciousness. Whenever the dawn came, Chen Ji's consciousness would eventually return. Chen Ji's consciousness could not be split, so the hospital director had to come at this from a different angle. He was originally an expert at toying with people's heart. Combined with his decades of exploration in the Black Fog, he knew that place better than anyone else. With a careful planning, the hospital director instigated the Black Fog, and it churned and boiled into a scary tsunami. To save the wounded and forgotten memories in the Red City, Chen Ji chose to combine himself with the Red City and try to influence it. The tsunami swept through the city. The forgotten memories were not washed away, but Chen Ji's consciousness could no longer leave the Red City anymore. The hospital director stole away with parts of Chen Ji's flesh and organ, while the remaining parts were taken away by Chen Xiang. Inside the cursed hospital, the memories that filled the sky were shattered in that moment. The hospital director's past started to fade away. Holding the red key, the man in red fixed his death stare at the hospital director in the Black Fog. He plunged the key as hard as he could into the altar. Black blood that reeked kept leaking out from inside the altar. Chapter 12:05, It's Over. Chen Xiang's icy gaze pierced through the black fog. He looked at the monsters who was slowly combining with the sea of fog. Black patterns gradually appeared all over his body. The patterns weaved into arms on Chen Xiang's body. Chen Xiang's power seemed to originate from the souls who had been tortured and killed by the hospital director. The endless hands reached out to hold the key. With deep hatred inside them, they pushed the key deep into the altar. Bloody gashes appeared in the black fog, then a horrible-smelling rain of blood rained down from the sky. The hospital director used his power, dragged the black sky, and charged at Chen Xiang without regard for his own safety. Dr. Gao, Zhang Ye, and the painter moved to stop him at the same time. With regards to Kai, the demon god had slipped away from the hospital the moment Chen Xiang showed up. 4 demon gods attacked the altar at the same time, demolishing all of the hospital director's past memory. When the last shred of malicious memory was grounded into nothingness, the old altar shattered, exposing an old black and white photo. Inside the photo, there was a woman in patient's garb. There was a doctor in white coat standing behind her. This would appear to be the hospital director's parents. The 4 demon gods focused their attack on the photo. The old photo started to surface with black blood, morphing into a heart that was punctured and scarred. The hospital director had planted his heart inside this photo. This was also his biggest secret. The key black hair chains pierced through the ugly heart. The fusing of the hospital director and the black fog stopped. His figure was slowly made clear among the black fog. Blood rain was pouring. The hospital director's body was fading. The disappearance was irrevocable. No matter how many curse or negative emotion he tried to consume, he could not stop the disintegration. Screams and wails echoed above the cursed hospital. The hospital director lowered his head to look at his own chest. There was an empty spot there, and flesh and blood kept falling off. Being surrounded by 4 demon gods, the hospital director never anticipated this day would come. Like a madman, he tried to repair his body, but it was futile. Be it the curse or despair, none of the negative emotion was enough to fill up the emptiness in his heart. Looking around, the mountain of bodies was now a mess of guts. The broken bodies of patient 5 littered the area, and Kai had slipped away without notice. The whole cursed hospital was cleared of patients and doctors. In the end, the hospital director was the only one left. The demon that spread despair finally had the taste of despair. There were no dying words. There was no final interaction. The few demon gods did not even give the hospital director the chance to take a breath. As if in tandem, the 4 demon gods attacked the hospital director from 4 sides. Losing his heart, his body failing him, his power slipping away, the endless curse that made up the hospital director's body started to consume its host. All of the souls he had trapped, all of the spirits he had tormented, they had found the chance to take their revenge. They bit at him crazily. The hospital director's white coat was torn apart, exposing the bloody patient's garb inside. He tried his best to resist, but the ending had already been written for the man with the broken heart. The 4 demon gods did not waste time with him. This was a battle of life and death. They won't stop until the enemy was vanquished. His body turned immaterial and blood leaked away from his body. The cursed flowers on the hospital director's body also started to wither. Looks like I have lost, but no matter, as long as there are still despair and pain in this world, the black fog will be going nowhere, and the curse will continue to spread in another form. While he could still control his body, the hospital director glanced at Chen Ji. How come even though we are both evil spirits, you can come to have everything? The hospital director's body grew in size. I should have killed you 20 years ago when I had the chance. Carrying his last curse and malice, the hospital director's consciousness faded away, but not before he imploded his own body. The curse that was trapped inside his body was all released at the same time. They started to escape in all directions. There was no rhyme or rhythm to their action. No one knew how many evil spirits the hospital director had trapped both inside and outside the door. Before his consciousness disappeared, the malice inside the hospital director's body exploded. Stop the evil spirits and curse. He still wants to make use of the black fog. Chen Xiang had seen this 20 years ago. The other 3 demon gods immediately responded to his call. Chen Xiang, though, walked towards the altar that had the hospital director's heart inside it. He studied the old altar. He tried to place his own heart inside the altar to stop the rampaging souls, but perhaps he was himself an evil spirit. The effect was not positive. These evil spirits had carried with them the remaining power of the hospital director. They were very hard to deal with. The hospital director's heart represents chaos, tragedy, and curse. Only a heart completely opposite to that can stop the spirits. Chen Xiang's eyes swept the humans and specters around him. They were cruel and savage. None of them fitted his requirement. Let me do it. Chen Ji walked to stand beside Chen Xiang. I have a family. He has a heart that is meant for protection. Family? Chen Xiang regarded Chenji for a long time before he nodded. Standing before the altar, Chenji closed his eyes. He communicated with the heart Su Yin left inside his mind and then placed Su Yin's heart inside the altar. Su Yin's heart appeared because he wanted to protect others. That was extremely rare among Red Spectre. In fact, one could say that was completely in contradiction to the essence of a Red Spectre. When Su Yin's heart appeared inside the altar, the evil spirits started to weaken. Dr. Gao, Zhang Ye, and the painter used this opportunity to round up the spirits and gather them around the altar. These evil spirits possessed a large amount of curse and negative emotion, but at the same time they carried the dangerous power of the hospital director. Being surrounded by so many evil spirits was something extremely painful, but it placed no impact on Su Yin's heart. He had gotten used to pain a long time ago. The 4 demon gods lent their aid. Su Yin's heart started to beat. As he suppressed the evil spirits, he was also absorbing the hospital director's remaining power. As one after another blood vessels extended outwards, a handsome young man appeared inside the altar. Being given a second chance at life, he waded out from the deepest abyss of the blood sea. When he opened his eyes again, he saw Chenji standing before him. The melancholy in his eyes had disappeared. He grabbed Chenji's hands that were extended towards him. Wearing the red shirt that was painted with endless evil spirits, he stood up from the broken altar. The old god had died, and the person who was reborn from the altar was Su Yin. All the curse and spirits had been suppressed. The Red City also spread to the cursed hospital's vicinity. The broken cursed hospital was bound by blood vessels. It was slowly dragged into the Red City, being assimilated into it. The last trace of the hospital director had been fully wiped out. Crossing life and death, 2 cities, the history that spanned centuries finally reached its end. The blood chased away the black fog. The Red City had consumed the cursed hospital, so Chenji's group was currently inside the territory of the Blood City. It's over. Standing on its ruin, the Red Spectres gathered around Chenji. When Chenji chose to sacrifice himself to help them find their memory, they had already decided to stay by Chenji's side forever. Because they had already experienced death once, so sometimes specters and ghosts knew how to appreciate the things that they had more than living humans. Zhang Ye, Su Yin, and the painter walked to Chenji's side. The red color lit up the sky behind the door. Dr. Gao looked at the ruined altar silently, who knew what was on his mind. Chen Xiang, though, kept his eyes on Chenji. His cold and emotionless eyes slowly softened. How did you manage to accomplish all these? Kindness has taken away everything. You are supposed to be nothing but a normal human. I have never considered what should I do, and winning or losing could never be further from my mind. I just felt compelled to keep pushing myself forward, and it has led me to this place. After knowing all the truth, the fragmented memories in Chenji's mind slowly pieced together. Chapter 1206, Special Number. Everyone left their evil behind the door. Only Chenji was an exception. Stepping on the ruin of the cursed city, Chenji turned to look deep into the Red City. He was reminded of his promise to kindness. Until now, I still don't quite understand whether it was me who have saved him or it was him who has completed me. Many baleful specters and red specters guarded around Chenji. Zhang Ye's black hair surged. They placed Chenji's parents who were in coma in the middle of the crowd of people. After the hospital director was vanquished, the blood vessels on Chenji's parents also disappeared, but they had not awakened. Don't worry, they are more tough than you think. Their souls are heavily injured, but give them some time. They will slowly recover. Chen Xiang did not even glance at Chen Zio and his wife. His eyes stayed on Chenji. But their souls are heavily injured. How can I not worry? Chenji, who showed no fear of anything except perhaps Zhang Ye, did not dare to face Chen Xiang's eyes. It was probably because he was not used to facing a father in red clothes and radiating powerful oppressive energy. If you really want to, you can bring them deep inside the Red City. There is a person there who has the power to cure soul. Okay, but before I do that, I still need to search for some things. Chenji had the red high heels remove the curse from his employees and try her best to save them. And then he ordered the employees who were the least injured to start canvassing the cursed hospital. The cursed hospital originally had 7 floors above ground and 18 floors below ground, but now it was nothing more than a ruin. When the employees went off to search the cursed hospital for the last time, Chenji took out the black phone that he had kept close to him. The screen was shattered and it could not be switched on anymore. Chenji had no idea what the hospital director had done to the phone when he was unconscious. But from the state of the phone, he predicted that the hospital director had gleaned nothing useful from it. In other words, it appeared like the phone could only be used by Chenji and no one else. It still cannot be switched on. Chenji frowned. Chen Xiang walked over. He glanced at the black phone in Chen Ji's palm and said in surprise, "This should be Chen Zio's phone. You have been keeping it with you." "Yes, when he disappeared, he left this phone with me." "Well, that is so irresponsible and typical of him." Chen Xiang stopped before Chen Ji. The Red City demon god had a gentle smile on his face, and something akin to pride crossed his eyes. "You know something related to this phone?" Chen Ji gave the phone a few swings. He tried it multiple times, but it still would not switch on. "The phone is just a normal phone, but there is a very special number stored inside it," Chen Xiang explained patiently. "When you were small, you could already see into the world of the black fog, see into the evil and desire deep inside people's heart. You can even travel through dreams freely. Sometimes you would go to bed at night but wake up near a murder scene the next morning. After this has happened for a few times, Chen Zio bought you an old-fashioned second-hand phone so that you could contact your family whenever you want. He stored your phone number inside his phone, so whenever you disappeared, he would call the number madly until one day the number could never be connected anymore. All that because of a phone number. Instead of calling it a mere number, it is more like kindness connection to home." Chen Xiang sighed. "If you have any more questions, perhaps that person in the Red City might be able to answer you." The man appeared to have not said so many words in a long time already. His eyes were slowly overtaken by redness. "Who would have thought the bumbling boy from back then will accomplish so much? You have really grown up, huh?" His body slowly faded. Chen Xiang did not seem like he wanted to meet Chen Zio. After telling Chen Ji the way to head into the Red City, he disappeared around the corner. There is no separation between kindness and evil in this world. Kindness can be corrupted, and evil can choose salvation and embrace hope. The choice is always there. Chen Ji had no idea what transpired between the kindness and evil of his father's consciousness. He had a feeling the key of the argument was him, but as the hospital director passed away, Chen Ji felt like his father's evil spirit had learnt to put down the past as well. Everything was over, and everything was welcoming a new beginning. Half an hour later, a big white cat bounded around the ruin while dragging along a backpack. It seemed to be asking for praise. The result was the prop from inside the bag littered everywhere, while several helpless employees trailed behind it. "You have done a great job this time." Chen Ji picked up the backpack and inspected the content inside it. After the white cat was praised by Chen Ji, it appeared to need more. It silently sidled up to Zhang Ye and tried to brush up against her. After the hospital director died, Zhang Ye found the bloody entries inside her diary. She did not lose her memory, so she remembered clearly what happened after Chen Ji fainted. White Tiger had accomplished the impossible this time. Zhang Ye brushed its head gently with her black hair. It was just a simple action, but it had given the white cat great confidence. It followed behind Zhang Ye, riding on her coattail. Before this, it would always scamper away when it ran into a red specter, but now it would actively taunt them. When it passed Men Nan, it purposely wagged its tail as if exemplifying his meteoric rise in standing. "Kai, do you really think I will take offense from a cat?" Men Nan pouted. After a moment's hesitation, he mimicked the white cat and ran to Zhang Ye's side, but before he could put on his act, he was flung away by the black hair. He climbed up rather awkwardly from the ground. Men Nan patted his shirt. He was about to say something to save his embarrassment when he suddenly saw the red high heels who stood before him. A rather unpleasant memory surfaced in his mind. Perhaps afraid that Men Nan would break into tears, All Joe found an excuse and dragged the boy away. "Boss, here is your wedding ring." Zio-san in the white coat ran over to join Chen Ji. He stole a glance at Zhang Ye and silently slipped the ring back to Chen Ji. "Zio-san, if not for you this time, I would not be able to escape from the hospital. You have personally changed the ending of the battle." Chen Ji put the ring away. He looked at Zio-san silently. The scars on Zio-san's face and neck were carved into his soul. They were impossible to remove. These were signs of the torment Zio-san had suffered at the Curse Hospital. "I have not done anything really. Mostly I was just following the guidance given to me by the kindness inside the glass jars." "Don't be humble, you have done something many people could not." Chen Ji looked at Zio-san, who clearly had something on his mind. He patted the young man's shoulder. "Come on, out with it." "Boss, actually I already found out the hospital director was a cursed seed not long after I joined the hospital." Zio-san glanced at the broken bodies around them. "I am also a cursed seed. The hospital director was priming me to become his successor. I am really afraid that I will one day become someone like him. The cursed seed will not predestine one's path. Many people called me the extreme evil, but in reality, I have helped endless people at Jiujiang and saved many lost souls and specters." Chen Ji took out the hammer from his backpack. He waved it around casually. The heft felt good in his grasp. How a person turns out is related to his innate personality, but also the environment that he is in. But I am still a cursed seed, similar to the hospital director. Perhaps others might see you as that, but you have saved me and all the employees at the haunted house so for us. You are a hero. Chenji looked at Sun Xiaojun in the doctor's coat. In the future, I am sure you will continue to bring salvation to more people. Who knows, perhaps you will really become a doctor who will bring light to the world. Chapter 1207, City of Nightmare 2 in 1. Perhaps the hospital director had created too deep on an impact on Sun Xiaojun. A very strong self-doubt appeared in the young man's heart. Do not think too much of it. It does not matter whether you are a cursed seed or a seed of hope. The fact is you have saved everyone here. Chenji extended his finger to point down the distance. A woman in red raincoat was standing next to a little boy in a blue raincoat. This was a reunion that had been delayed for a long time, so everyone was clever enough to not go and disturb the pair of mother and son. If not for you, the red raincoat probably would never see her own son again. You have brought many happiness to the people around you, and that is more than enough. Chenji kept trying to open Xiao-san's mind, to help him see the good that he had done. I think I get it now. Sun Xiaojun nodded his head. Boss, can I ask a favor from you? Of course. I do not think I will go back to the haunted house with you. I wish to rebuild a hospital that can really treat pain and despair over this ruin. A smile appeared on Xiao-san's face. I am a cursed seed who will bring misfortune and tragedy. That is the unavoidable truth. But I will use my own method to prove that the cursed seed can not only bring happiness to myself, it can only help others regain their bliss in life. And it would appear like I need to refer to you as hospital director's son in the future. When he was at the cursed hospital, Xiao-san had seen tremendous growth. Chenji was no longer that worried about him. After handing the ruin of the cursed hospital over to Xian-san, Chenji wandered about the area carrying his backpack. The red high heels who had treated most of the employees stood blankly at a fixed spot. Following her line of sight, there was a heavily battered surgical table before her. Chenji could still remember rather fuzzily there was a bloody heart mission related to the red high heels in the black phone. The mission requested Chenji to go to a surgical room at the cursed hospital. However, the phone could not be switched on normally now, and the surgical room was probably buried alongside the rest of the cursed hospital. What are you looking at? Carrying the backpack, Chenji walked to the red high heels' side. The red high heels shook her head. There was a trace of lost in her blood-red eyes. After the hospital director had been vanquished, Su Yin inherited most of the power left behind by the hospital director, while the strange and curious curses inside the cursed hospital was all absorbed by the red high heels. After she had fully digested those curses, she would definitely become the new demon god wielding curses. There are so many ugly things in the world, but there are many beautiful things as well. How about you stay at the haunted house with the rest of you? We will go and explore every beautiful thing the world has to offer together. Chenji had found out about the red high heels' real name in his nightmare, so there did not seem to be any purpose left to do the bloody heart mission in the black phone anymore. The real name was the only weakness for a specter who specialized in curses. Since the red high heels was willing for Chenji to find out her real name, then it proved that Chenji had become a person that she trusted with literally her life. Even a living person would have trouble finding a person they could trust fully in the world, much less so for specters who had experienced tons of torment and despair. It was truly impossible for them to meet someone that could trust implicitly. After a moment of hesitation, the red high heels nodded lightly. She waved her arms and several cursed threads surged into the ruin. They located a patient's list under the surgical table. The patient's list had her previous picture and her life story. The cursed threads tore the patient's list into pieces. The red high heels had bidden farewell to the hatred and pain from her past. After dealing with everything at the cursed hospital, Chenji and his employees brought Chenji's unconscious parents deep into the Red City. Before Chen Xiang left, he had given Chenji a precise director to follow. That and the guardianship from several demon gods, the group did not run into any danger along the way. They walked past one after another street painted red, one after another building that was stained with blood. Among the thick blood fog, they arrived at the center of the Red City. Seeing the building that was situated at the center of the Red City, everyone stopped moving. There was a bloody apartment that was 30 stories high near the center of the Red City. Every floor was crawling with blood vessels, giving tenancy to the scariest specters. The scale of the apartment was not smaller than the abandoned red hospital behind the cursed hospital's door. It was filled with pulsing veins and blood. There was also a black church that was constructed purely from broken limbs. It gave off a very strong, ominous air. There was even a half-dead demon god who was pinned at the top of the building. Every single building near the center of the Red City gave off an imposing presence, but the building right at the center of the Red City appeared so unassuming. Touching the familiar gates, Chenji's feeling was complicated. Right at the most center of the Red City, there was an old haunted house. This haunted house was a complete replica of the haunted house situated at Jiujiang New Century Park. Who would have thought this would be the building at the deepest part of the Red City? Chenji pulled open the gates and raised the heavy curtains that normally blocked out the sunlight. Everything here was incredibly familiar. He even had a sense of illusion that he had already returned to real life. Is anyone home? With the accompaniment of several demon gods, Chenji entered the haunted house. He strode down the corridor and pushed open any door that he encountered, but he did not come into contact with any other soul. This place appeared to be abandoned. When kindness disappeared, he said there will be someone waiting for me at the deepest part of the Red City. Chen Xiang also told me to come to the deepest part of the Red City to look for someone. The fact is I am already here, but how come this place is so empty? After giving it some thought, Chenji was suddenly reminded of something. He rushed into the toilet at the first floor of the haunted house, and he saw the bloody cubicle door that was painted with the picture of the demon. There were many blood doors that he had encountered along the way, but there were only a handful that was painted with the demon. In that moment, many thoughts crossed Chenji's mind. I have been waiting for a long time for you. A child's voice came from the mirror inside the toilet. Chenji whipped his head around, his eyes fixed on the mirror. He could not stop his own body from moving forward. His hands grabbed the edge of the sink. Just like when he was doing his first nightmare mission, Chenji stood right before the mirror. You are my kindness. The child in the mirror had a warm smile on his face. He shook his head lightly. I used to be your kindness, but now I am the consciousness of this Red City. I have seen in the cursed hospital's memory that you have chosen to join yourself with the Red City to save the specters and spirits in the black tsunami, so in essence, you are still my kindness. For some unknown reason, Chenji did not wish to budge on this issue. The child in the mirror did not argue with Chenji. He kept a smile that shone from his heart on his face. Can't you come out from the mirror? I wish to see what pure kindness looked like, because that is the direction that I hope to model myself after in the future. At least on the surface, I wish for everyone to think that I am a kind person. Dragging Dr. Skullbreaker's hammer in one hand, Chenji uttered the thought in his heart. People keep misunderstanding me due to my straightforwardness. He looked at the child inside the mirror. It felt like he was conversing with another version of himself. There was no need for any secret or tricks. I have no corporeal body, I am just a slip of consciousness. I can only show up via possession of something inside the Red City, and I can never leave the Red City. The child was living deep inside the Red City, but his voice was particularly gentle and soft. It was comfortable chatting with you. After paying such a huge price, you should have gained corresponding enormous power in return as well. Chenji winked. The child in the mirror understood what Chenji was hinting at immediately. As the consciousness of the Red City, I can control all the door that is situated here, and I can help the Red City expand. In fact, I can slowly overlap the Red City with the real world. Overlap the Red City with the real world? Chenji was shocked. If that was the case, then the importance of the Red City's consciousness was more than he ever realized. Just think about it, if the hospital director's plan had succeeded, he would be able to control the Red City through Chenji's kindness, and that would definitely be a veritable tragedy. You have seen a door that has lost control before, right? When something happens to the door pusher, and I was not there to close the door in time, the large amount of negative emotion collected inside the Red City will creep out from that door and slowly transform the reality around it. The child looked in Chenji's eyes and explained softly. Since the appearance of a door can cause the reality to collapse, then why would you still go and open so many doors? You have connected the real world to the Red City. The large amount of negative emotion here could have poured back into the real world again. Chenji was confused. Kindness had a heart of pure kindness. He would not have taken such a big risk. Then who do you think is the one who created the despair inside the Red City and the sea of black fog? The child in the mirror tossed a question back to Chenji. The people in real life. Correct, actually there is a well deep inside every single person's heart that is connected to the sea of black fog. Pain, despair, and negative emotions as well as painful memory will rush into the black fog through this well. No one knew exactly where the sea of black fog is. Perhaps it originates from a place that none of us can see. Perhaps it is hidden at the deepest part of nightmare, or perhaps it is hidden inside every single human's heart. But no matter where it is, there is one thing that is undeniable. The black fog is spreading at every single moment. The child in the mirror's tone turned serious. If one day the sea of black fog has expanded to its limit and cannot support human despair anymore, what do you think will happen? It will overflow. The despair will pour out from the well deep inside everyone's heart. Indeed, perhaps for now the sea of black fog has not reached its limit yet, but if no one is there to control it, the day will soon arrive. Every human's despair and forgotten painful memory will enter the black fog, and that created the sea of it. Then what about the Red City? What is the reason behind its existence? Chen Ji initially thought the Red City was the scariest existence, but now he finally understood even the Red City was just a small part of the sea of black fog. The reason humans are humans is because even in the deepest despair, they will retain the last shred of hope. The black fog is a pure manifestation of despair and pain. It represents death and emptiness. The Red City, though, is the last shred of hope in human nature. The heart that yearns for salvation constructed this city of blood and isolates it from the Black Sea. As the Sea of Fog continues to expand, so will the Red City, but normally speaking, the speed of expansion of the Red City will be much slower than the speed of the Black Sea, and there is where I come in. The child in the mirror explained patiently to Chen Ji. You wish to use the Red City to destroy the Sea of Black Fog. As long as people still have despair in their heart, the Sea of Black Fog can never be destroyed. What I wish to do instead is to draw the most despairing soul in the real world into the Red City and use their power to strengthen the Red City and at the same time prevent them from being taken by the Black Fog. The child in the mirror looked out the window. Every single blood door in the Red City represents the most despairing soul. The Red City has grown several times in size over the years, are all thanks to these souls. The existence of the door was to transport the most despairing soul into the Red City. After Chen Ji grasped the notion of this, there were many other questions that popped up in his mind. Reaching into his pocket to pull out the black phone, Chen Ji placed the phone with the shattered screen before the mirror. It was you who was behind Dad's phone, right? It was you who had been guiding me step by step. The child in the mirror did not deny it. Do you still remember your first nightmare mission? The mission started at this place. When you closed your eyes, I was standing inside the mirror looking at you. In fact, it was just like now. We were able to see each other, but we are unable to touch each other, not ever. In other words, it was also you who sent me the details and information of each mission. Most of the time, I get it now, that is why there is the term trial before each star mission. For example, 2-star trial mission Mu Yang High School, 3-star trial mission 3rd Sick Hall, and so on. Chen Ji caught up very quickly. But there is still something that is befuddling to me. The props and scenarios in my haunted house, how did you unlock them so fast? That was actually what I was about to tell you next. As the Red City continued to expand, the Red City itself became unstable, despair started to spread, and the specters were going at each other. They are unable to achieve salvation at this place. For them to really let go of their resentment and despair in their heart, I am afraid that is no other option but for them to return to real life. The child in the mirror used the gentlest voice to say the craziest thing. I wish to make this Red City into an intermediate point between the Sea of Fog and real life. Have you lost your mind? If so many red specters and ghosts were to be released back into the real life, several hundred km around Jiujiang will be turned into a haunted town. That is why I have been trying with it very carefully. I only unlocked one scenario each time, starting from the weakest to the strongest. You have cooperated with me perfectly. So far there has been no accident. The fact that you are standing here now is proof that my plan is a success. The child in the mirror glanced at the black phone. Threads of black and red blood vessels appeared inside the toilet, and they crawled into the phone. This phone contains my only lingering spirit. I used all the power innate within the Red City to make it possess part of the Red City's power. The scenario at your haunted house is the reflection of the world behind the door, but they will grow in the real life, becoming the medium that connects the Red City and the real world. The cracks on the screen were slowly being healed by the blood vessels. The blood vessels gave off a presence that could rival a demon god. The child in the mirror appeared to be using the flesh and blood of a demon god to repair the black phone. The negative emotion of living humans will be consumed by specters, and the specters, dying wishes and obsession, can seek salvation in real life. That is the most effective way to keep the Red City stabilized while expanding it. But stabilizing the Red City is just the first step. My real goal is still that sea of despair. I cannot completely wash the Sea of Fog away, but I will control the Red City to bring it under control as much as I can, and strive to salvage more despairing souls. Child in the mirror handed the fixed black phone back to Chen Ji. Before this, I have been in a very dangerous position. The director from the cursed hospital stole my body from the body and have trapped our parents. He would keep using them to come and disturb in his attempt to take control of the Red City, but now I do not need to worry about him anymore. The child in the mirror could not leave the Red City, but the cursed hospital could move freely through the Black Sea. If not for Chen Ji's intervention, should the hospital director manage to consume Chen Ji's parents, the ending might be completely different. Holding the fixed black phone, Chen Ji was reminded of the first time he found the black phone. It felt like that was just yesterday. Do you still have any other question? Yes, actually there is something that has been bothering me. Since I am here now, I might as well ask you in person. Chen Ji switched the phone back on again. There is a spinning wheel inside the black phone. I can spin it by collecting the screams of visitors. I have spun it many times, but I have never obtained anything that is remotely good. I just wish to know the rewards that are listed on the app. Do they really exist? Like spirit fruit that can extend my lifespan, medicine that improve one's body. Those are just white lies that are meant to push you further. There are only specters, objects related to specters and items left behind by the dead in the Red City inside the Wheel of Misfortune. The child in the mirror admitted freely. How can you be a spirit of pure kindness with such shamelessness? That truly has given me a renewed understanding of my own self. Chen Ji looked at the light that slowly lit up the phone's screen, and he shook his head lightly. Chapter 12:08, The Only Wish 2 in 1. Seeing the serenity on Chen Ji's face, the child in the mirror asked Chen Ji with curiosity, "Aren't you mad now that you have found out everything about the Wheel of Misfortune is a lie?" At the beginning, I was truly incensed. I thought my luck could not have been worse, but after going through so much, I realized all of the good luck in my life has already been exhausted the moment I crossed path with her. Chen Ji nudged several steps to Zhang Ye's side. She is the most beautiful person I have ever met, and that is the luckiest thing that could have happened to me in my life, and for that, I have nothing but appreciation and thankfulness towards. Zhang Ye appeared to be blanking out, but when she noticed Chen Ji approaching her, she pulled back her curtain of black hair and voluntarily sidled over to Chen Ji. Both of them stood before the mirror together, but the mirror only showed the reflection of one person. Now that you put it that way, you do owe me a great deal. The child in the mirror felt like Chen Ji was purposely gloating, feeding him dog food. Before Zhang Ye became a red specter, she was being pursued by another red specter and accidentally stumbled deep into the Red City. Seeing how rare her power is, I guided her to her safety from the dark. At the time, I had to split up my attention to deal with the hospital director's curse, and it was almost impossible to still have time to protect a ghost who was not even a red specter inside the chaotic Red City. So I split out a shred of the Red City's consciousness and placed it on her, and then I had her hide inside the haunted house deep inside the Red City. The child in the mirror looked at Zhang Ye, who was now a demon god. The corners of his lips turned into a helpless smile. Who would have thought after the shred of Red City's consciousness joined with her, even I was unable to extract it anymore. Zhang Ye thus became the most unique presence at the Red City. If one day I was to disappear due to some unknown reason, then she would replace me as the new consciousness of the Red City. That is also the last insurance that I have against the hospital director. Therefore, to prevent putting all the eggs in one basket, you sent Zhang Ye out of the Red City and had her hide in the real world. Other than myself, there are only a handful of people who knew about the fact that Zhang Ye had once entered the Red City. The child in the mirror studied Zhang Ye from the top of her head to the bottom of her feet. He still felt the whole thing was rather surreal. I know how special she is, but it is still quite out of my expectation that she will be able to evolve into a demon god so soon. Speaking of that, the speed by which Dr. Gao had become a demon god is not slower than Zhang Ye. Chen Ji glanced to his side. Dr. Gao had not left. He followed Chen Ji into the haunted house. With regards to this former chairman of the Ghost Stories Society, Chen Ji still had his apprehension. It could not be helped, after all. Dr. Gao was not only an incredibly powerful demon god, he was also an incredibly cunning and brilliant strategist. No one would be able to rival him in terms of intelligence. Dr. Gao has used 20 years of planning to become a demon god. From when he was still alive to after his death, he has paid a price that none of you can ever imagine. The child in the mirror turned to look at Dr. Gao. Lifting his head, Dr. Gao's lips opened slightly. Ever since the death of the hospital director, this was the first time he had spoken. I have already completed the request that you have asked of me, so we do not owe each other anything from now on. You two have met before this. Chen Ji realized, then Dr. Gao appeared to have some kind of contract with the kindness inside the mirror. Dr. Gao has once entered this place through the door in your haunted house. He was lost at the deepest part of the Blood City. It was me who saved him. It was also because he had known the truth that he would choose to commit suicide at the underground morgue and left his own daughter in your care. The child in the mirror pointed at the door of the cubicle in the toilet. The drawing of the dream demon on the door was left behind by him. Dream demon, This specter that has 3 heads is called a dream demon. Some people call it the dream demon, others call it heart demon. It is a monster that lives deep inside the black fog. It feeds on nightmare and negative emotions. It can elicit the evil deep inside people's heart and use that power to destroy blood doors. You could say it has a power that is completely opposite from that of the Red City. After the boy in the mirror explained that, everything clicked into place for Chen-ji. Before his death, Dr. Gao had indeed sneaked into his own haunted house before. He carved the picture of the dream demon on the cubicle door to leave a way back for himself. After all, at the time, Dr. Gao also thought it was the door pusher who only had the power to control the blood door. If he was trapped inside the world behind the door, then he would destroy the blood door in Chen-ji's haunted house, and then make his escape. It was the same for Chang Wenyu when she wanted to destroy the door at School of Afterlife. She too had painted the drawing of the Dream Demon on that door. In real life, Blood Door represented the Red City, while Dream Demon represented the Sea of Black Fog. Many questions that he had in the past had been answered. After clarifying a few other details, Chen-ji carried his parents and placed them before the mirror. I have found them inside the Blood Sea at the Cursed Hospital. Even though the hospital director has been vanquished, they still have not woken up. It is incredibly difficult to cure an injury to the soul, but I will try my best. You should bring them to the prop room. There is a bath of blood there. Place them into the blood bath and leave the rest to me. The boy in the mirror turned to leave. Chen-ji also led the few demon gods out of the toilet and turned into the prop room. Compared to the first time he entered this place, the room had not changed that much. But only a few seconds later, a blood gash was pulled open by an external force at the corner of the room. Chen-ji was very familiar with that corner. Whenever he drew something from the black phone, those items would show up at this particular corner of the props room in the haunted house. Strands of black and red blood vessels rushed out and dragged Chen-ji's parents into the blood pool at the corner of the room. The blood pool appeared to be connected to the space underneath the Red City. Submerged in the black and red liquid bath, many different kinds of curses and black words appeared underneath Chen-ji's parents' skin. Then these remaining curses were washed away by the blood. Color returned to Chen-ji's parents' cheeks. They looked much more alive than before. The whole process lasted for an hour. When Chen-ji's parents were sent out from the blood pool, they already looked much better than before. When you leave the world behind the door, it should not take long for them to wake up. The figure of a boy showed up inside a prop mirror in the props room. Kindness did not have his parent wake up immediately, apparently, because he did not wish for them to see the state that he was in. Thank you so much. It was me who should be thanking you. After all, I thought I would never lay eyes on them ever again. The boy in the mirror studied the sea of blood that was boiling inside the blood pool, and then he added with some hint. The power that has accumulated over the years by the Red City is just about enough to completely repair a broken soul to help her welcome a new life. What do you mean by that? Wait a minute, if Zhangya baths inside this blood pool, she has the chance to become a human again. Chen-ji grabbed Zhangya's hand and he became quite animated. Once her soul is healed, and if you combine that with my talent of living doll. Yes, there is a chance of that, but for a demon god, the success rate is only 1 over 10,000. If anything, the weaker and the more common the soul, the higher the success rate. Are you sure you want to go through with this? The child in the mirror controlled the black and red blood vessels. The props room was torn open to reveal the gurgling blood sea underneath it. To reborn as a person, then they would have a chance to make up for all the regrets in the past, and they would have the chance to embrace a better future. Even if the chance of success was only 1 over 10,000, it was still a very precious opportunity. Holding Zhangya's hand, Chen-ji turned to ask for Zhangya's opinion. Zhangya, who stood next to him, had the redness fade from her eyes. Flash of desire lit up her eyes, but moments later she shook her head light. The pale finger tugged at a blood vessel that reached out from her heart. Zhangya took out her own heart and replaced it back into Chen-ji's shadow. Even though she had not spoken a single word, she had made her choice loud and clear. But if we miss out on this opportunity, you might never be given the chance to become a human anymore. Chen-ji grabbed hold of Zhangya's hand. He pulled out her into the corridor and tried to persuade her. About half an hour later, Chen-ji and Zhangya returned to the props room. They had already come to a consensus. So have you decided? Will you be giving this chance to Zhangya? If I use the entirety of the power in the Red City, the chance of success might be raised by a little bit. The boy in the mirror was going to give it his all. This was his way of repaying Chen-ji for everything that he had done. There is no need for that. We plan to give this chance to Dr. Gao. Once Chen-ji said that, the sound of chains dropping heavily to the ground came from behind him. Clearly, Dr. Gao did not expect something like that. Chen-ji, this chance comes once in a lifetime. It takes a very long time for the Red City to collect so much power. Are you sure you want to give it to me? Dr. Gao's heart was racing. He had not felt that in a very long time already. The success rate for demon gods and red specters is too low, but your wife is just a normal person. We must not waste such a precious chance. Chen Ji was not kidding. He had come to this decision after he had asked Zhang Ye for her opinion. This was what she had agreed to as well. The sin that you have committed will be shouldered by you alone, but your wife is the innocent party in all of you. By the way, there is one more thing that I need to tell you. Gao Ruxu is now very safe. In fact, she told me to bring you a message. She wanted me to tell you. She misses you a lot and she wishes to see you again. Back when they were in the underground morgue, Dr. Gao had the chance to kill Chen Ji and Zhang Ye, but he did not do so. Regardless of the reason behind Dr. Gao's decision, that was an unavoidable truth. Thank you. That was the first time Dr. Gao showed this kind of expression. He tugged at the chain before his chest and used his fingers to cut open his heart. At the tip of his heart, he pulled of his wife's broken soul. Her body has already been destroyed by the Red City and the monsters in the black fog, but my own physical body is still perfectly preserved, so please use my own flesh and body and make a living doll for her. Dr. Gao held his wife's broken soul gingerly in his palms. After the hospital director died, the curse that was placed his wife's soul had already faded away. Of course, after he got the promise from Chen Ji, Dr. Gao laid his wife's broken soul into the blood pool. Deep inside the blood pool, it contained the purest energy that was harnessed from innumerable negative emotions and the souls of the dead. As the blood washed over it, the soul of Dr. Gao's soul was slowly repairing itself. I have hidden my body inside a building at this red city. Give me a few minutes, I will go and retrieve it. Dr. Gao was probably waiting for this day since he had kept his own body behind. Not long after HTAT, Dr. Gao led a very unique red specter to return to the haunted house. When Chen Ji saw the red specter, he was quite surprised, because it was the woman from the well at the Coffin Village. It's the red specter who has been in existence the longest at Jiujiang. In my attempt to find the way to bring my wife back to life, I went to her for help. Dr. Gao had the woman in the well put down his own body. It is very difficult to preserve the liveliness of a physical body behind the door. I cannot allow my attention to be separated, so I had to ask her for her help to watch over my body. Dr. Gao said all of these evenly, and the woman in the well did not react strangely. If not for the fact that Chen Ji had personally paid a visit to Coffin Village, and knew that the Coffin Village behind the door had already been leveled, he probably would have believed Dr. Gao's stories. With the aid of several demon gods, Chen Ji soon successfully used Dr. Gao's body to create a living doll. Dr. Gao's wife's soul was also recovering inside the blood pool. When the soul was placed inside the living doll, the whole red city suddenly shook. The barrier between life and death was shattered. The heart of Dr. Gao's wife started to beat again. Seeing that familiar face, this was the first time Chen Ji noticed Dr. Gao look at someone with such gentleness in his eyes. Dr. Gao helped his wife arrange her hair. Just as everyone thought Dr. Gao was about to awaken his wife, he turned to tell Chen Ji silently, I need to ask you for one last favor. After you help me with this, I promise to stay here as long as I live to help you protect the Red City and atone for all the sins that I have committed. What kind of favor is it? After you bring my wife out of the blood door, I need you to help me correct the memory of my wife, Gao Ruxu, and the people around them. There were plenty of unwillingness in Dr. Gao's eyes. He straightened up slightly. Just make it so that it was me who died in the car accident about 20 years ago. Using 20 years to set up the whole intricate set of plans, after having his nemesis, the hospital director of the cursed hospital killed and his own wife brought back to life, Dr. Gao's last wish was for his own wife and daughter to forget about himself. Chen Ji clearly did not expect that to be Dr. Gao's final wish. He did not agree to it immediately. I still think it is better for you to at least meet them in person once. Over these years, I have killed so many people and consumed endless ghosts. The sin that I have committed is so deep that it cannot be washed away by even the blood sea. Dr. Gao looked lovingly at his own wife and could not pull his gaze away. I do not wish for them to see me in this state. Seeing his wife's eyelids fluttering, Dr. Gao silently retreated out of the room. I will help you guard the Red City. Perhaps after I have cleansed my body of sin, I will go and find them myself. Dr. Gao left, and he departed with once turning back. The cursed hospital has caused too many tragedies in this world, if only things can go back in time. Chen Ji looked at Dr. Gao as the man disappeared into the Red City and gave a sigh of lamentation. It is impossible to change the things that have happened in the past. All we can do is to prevent the same tragedy from happening again. The black fog will keep on cultivating the cursed seed, so this means that there might be a new hospital director to take up where the previous left off. I cannot leave the Red City, so should that happen, I shall need you to take care of it again. the boy in the mirror told Chenji. With the difference in environment, even if they come from the same cursed seed, they might bloom into different flowers. Chenji looked at the child in the mirror. But I know what to do. I have already told you everything I know, pushing open the door of the cubicle and you will be able to return to the real world. The reflection of the boy in the mirror was fading away. With his hand pressing against the door of the cubicle, Chenji suddenly turned his head back to ask, assuming I have accidentally pushed open this blood door at midnight from the real world, then wouldn't that mean I would be able to know all about this before everything that had happened? Before the hospital director was eliminated, I spent most of my time in a daze. He had been using my own flesh and blood as well as my lingering spirit towards family to influence me. When Dr. Gao stumbled through the door, I happened to be awake. If Dr. Gao had entered the door when you were not awake, then what would have happened? Chenji wanted to know the answer to this question. A flash of guilt crossed the eyes of the boy in the mirror. He did not go into detail, but the short sentence that he said had explained a lot. Your own shadow has once tried to sneak into the door before. When he arrived, I was in a state of suspension. The hospital director sensed his presence through his curse. He tricked him into a room where the time moves very slow and tortured him for a very, very long time. Chapter 1209, Human World Outside the Door. Chenji had no idea his shadow's escape had to do with the hospital director as well. He predicted the shadow was probably tricked by the hospital director back then and was given the false impression that it was Chenji himself who was torturing him. To come to this place, I have escaped multiple deaths. Who would have thought I only needed to push open a door to return? Chenji had a surreal feeling about the whole thing. I will leave the things in the real world in your hand. Remember to take care of the visitors' safety. They can bring the much-needed scent of life to this desecrated place and will bring necessary happiness to the specters. It was unclear whether the child in the mirror was more concerned about the visitors or the specters. His kindness was also fair when dealing with all things. I will keep a good handle over the haunted house in real life, but the key is you have to promise me the specters in the Red City will not cause any influence in real life. Other than that, there is a demon god with the surname Kai from the cursed hospital who has escaped. He has many Kai family members. As long as he is still alive, those people will always live in fear and terror. The black fog is too wide, it's impossible to canvass for a single demon god, but you have a top red specter who specializes in curse. After she becomes a demon god, perhaps she can triangulate Kai's location through the curse laid on Kai's family members. The boy in the mirror saw Chenji standing before the cubicle door but refused to walk through. The boy had a helpless smile on his face. Do you have anything else? I saw a blood door deep inside the cursed hospital. If you have pushed open all the door, and all the door will eventually lead to the Red City, then how do you explain the door at the bottom of the cursed hospital? Chenji tried to think back. The blood door can isolate any living presence. Before we entered the cursed hospital, we have no idea that the hospital director's evil spirit was hiding inside that door. Before our consciousness was split into two, the hospital director once came to Jiujiang to find us. By then he had already explored for a long time inside the Black Fog and Red City, conducting many experiments. Actually, it was him who came up with the idea about the doors. If you have looked through his memory, you will know that the director wanted to use the Red City and Black Fog to ruin the real world. He was planning to connect the two worlds and release the ghosts in the Red City and Black Fog all back into real life, turning reality into nightmare. The boy in the mirror thought back to that worst memory. After the hospital director knew about my power, he wanted to experiment on me. His ultimate goal was to benefit himself, but without knowing it, I have also managed to inherit his experience that he had collected over the decades. I still do not quite get what you are talking about. The door at the bottom floor of the hospital was the first experiment. I opened the door in the Black Fog again and again, but the door still refused to connect the Black Fog and real life, but it could isolate itself from external canvas and discovery. The boy in the mirror did not expect so many questions from Chenji. His voice dwindled. I need to keep the Red City running. If there's nothing else, I really need to go now. Wait a minute. I still have one last question. I swear this is really the last. Go ahead. The child in the mirror looked at Chenji with helplessness, but he still had the warmest smile on his face. If there's really no solution for you to leave the Red City anymore, I have a feeling our parents want to meet you as well. If there is a chance, I wish for all of you to find happiness and bliss. Chenji uttered the wish in his heart. That does not sound like something an evil spirit would say. The child in the mirror shook his head. The black phone has a wheel of misfortune. There is still a ghost inside whom you have not drawn. Currently, Chenji's title was Red Specters, favored. If he drew another specter, his title would upgrade. Why would you bring that up now? The last specter is me. When you have drawn out all the pain, anxiety, and despair from the wheel, I will be the last specter to leave the Red City. After saying that, the boy slowly faded away. Chenji understood the boy's meaning. When all the souls at Red City received salvation, kindness would also welcome his new life. Such a kind character. Chenji looked at the mirror dumbly. You have the power to walk through Red City and reality freely. Perhaps that is not a coincidence. Instead of saying you have joined with the Red City, it is more like the endless despairing souls inside the city has actively chosen you. After the boy in the mirror left, Chenji did not directly return to the real life, but instead he found the old headmaster from School of Afterlife. After giving him his thanks, he personally escorted the Red Spectres back to the school. Chenji thought the painter would return with the old headmaster, but the painter appeared to have other plans. He took the incomplete oil painting and asked Chenji to take good care of Fan Yu in real life. Then he led the few Red Spectres who left the School of Afterlife with him deep into the black fog. Based on what the painter said, it appeared like he wanted to rebuild a real paradise deep inside the black fog. After sending away the painter and the old headmaster, Chenji returned to the ruin of the cursed hospital. Zio's son had become the new hospital director. He was discussing the rebuilding of the hospital with the Kai family members and part of the specters who were willing to stay. Chenji, though, would be leading the living humans out from behind the door. With the aid of the demon gods and Red City, Chenji used the living doll talent to recover most of the injuries on the human bodies, like Zhu Han's eyes. After dealing with everything behind the door, Chenji brought the group of living humans to the center of the Red City. The kindness in the mirror had already left. The haunted house situated at the center of the Red City was deserted. It looked no different from the one in real life. It is time to go, his palm pressing on the door of the cubicle. As Chenji started to push, endless blood vessels swam on the wooden board. This was the first time he opened the door at his own haunted house. Who would have thought it would be from inside the door? The sun showered on his body through the glass window. The blood melted away. Chenji took little steps and returned to the human world. The scent of air freshener lingered in the air. The curtains fluttered in the wind. A girl hugging a ragdoll appeared before Chenji. She was the guardian spirit of Jiujiang New Century Park, Luo Royu. She was unable to leave the haunted house, but she too realized something very dangerous had happened yesterday night. It appeared like she had been guarding outside the cubicle door, waiting for Chenji to return. Touching Luo Royu's hair lightly, Chenji felt a kinship to her. It was like they were brother and sister. I have brought Mom and Dad home. Everything will be fine now. Chenji had his employees and Luo Royu carry his parents to the staff break room. He put down the white cat and backpack. He turned back to glance at the living humans who streamed out from the cubicle door. He summoned Zhang Yi. After deleting the memory of these people, Chenji very expertly moved them out of the haunted house with the body carts. Actually, Chenji did not even need to lift a finger. A bond had been formed between him and his employees, that they would be able to tell what he was thinking with just the sharing of a look. Chapter 12:10. The small detail of the daughter-in-law being a demon god, 2 in 1. The employees of the haunted house threw themselves into work. Some were correcting memory, others were draining out the curse, while the rest were preparing the scenarios to welcome the new day of business. These living humans from the cursed hospital will prove to be great trouble. No matter sending them to the police or the hospital, if I am just a bit careless, I might get suspected by the police. Chenji thought about it before he came up with his own plot and helped them edit their memory one by one. Of all the living humans, only 2 were exception. One was haunted house manager, Zhang Jingjiu, and the other was Zhu Han. Zhang Jingjiu had chosen with determination to help remind Chenji even when he was facing death. That was a bond that was literally tested by death. Zhu Han had proven himself to be an enormous help to Chenji when they were trapped at the cursed hospital. He had cooperated greatly with Chenji to obtain extremely valuable information. Chenji did not pressure either of them. He had them make the decision on their own. In the end, both Zhu Han and Zhang Jingjiu chose to retain their memory, and Zhu Han even voiced his intention of joining the rank of Chenji's haunted house. His adventure with Chenji at the cursed hospital was the best interview. Zhu Han was definitely a rare genius, but because he was such a genius, Chenji did not want to waste his talent. The two made a promise that Zhu Han would be considered a part-time worker at the haunted house, while working full-time to pursue a career in forensic science. Speaking out for the death and defending the right of the living, these unique experiences would aid Zhu Han to become the best forensic doctor. Chenji had Zhang Jingjiu and Zhu Han organize the rest of the living humans. He went to borrow the bus New Century Park used to ferry the visitors around the theme park, and he planned to drive them all back to Xinhai City. People who were believed to have gone missing for years suddenly returned to the real world. It was unknown whether their family was still around, and whether they could pick up where they left off. But these were not things that Chen Ji would need to worry about anymore. He had rescued these people from hell, and that was already a lot more than he could have done. When the living humans were sent into the bus, Chen Ji used the opportunity to take out the black phone from his pocket. Ever since he returned to real life, the phone that had already been repaired would not stop vibrating. Sliding on the screen, Chen Ji looked at the string of unread messages on the black phone. This all feels so familiar. After knowing the real truth, the feeling that Chen Ji had when he looked through these messages had completely changed. He reached out to click open the message. Congratulations, Red Spectres, favored for completing 4-star trial mission, the Cursed Hospital. You have managed to survive until dawn, unlocking the all-new 4-star scenario, the Cursed Hospital. Mission completing rate reached 95%, obtaining the reward of the hidden mission, the underground 19 floors of the Cursed Hospital. The underground 19 floors of the Cursed Hospital special infrastructure. Curse, specters, nightmare, the deeper you venture, the more dangerous it will be. When you turn back to look, you will realize the way back has already disappeared. When he saw the first mission reward, Chen Ji sucked in a cold breath. These 19 floors under the hospital would not lead one directly towards the Red City, would it? Then again, probably no one will be able to challenge all 19 floors anyway. Right. You have successfully found your parents. Optional mission 1 completed. Acquired 1 chance to heal a broken soul, used. You have successfully provided salvation to patient number 1. Optional mission 2 completed. Obtained a complete body and soul, used. You have successfully killed the hospital director. Optional mission 3 completed. Possessed the scenario of the Cursed Hospital behind the door, used. Congratulations, Red Spectres, favored for possessing 3 4-star scenarios in your haunted house at the same time. The haunted house will officially upgrade to become Castle of Nightmares after the expansion for the Cursed Hospital scenario is complete. Castle of Nightmares, this is a city built at the edge of nightmare. It connects human hearts to reality. It is a hiding place for both despair and salvation. After reading all the mission rewards, Chen Ji did not switch off the black phone but continue to access the rest of the app. There were many new specters' names that were added to the tab of Haunted House's employees. After the adventure at the Cursed Hospital, most of the specters had willingly accepted the Haunted House as their own home. Other than that, Chen Ji also took a gander at the mission tab. All the lower-level quests had been cleared away. The entire quest tab, only a blood-red mission remained. He reached out to touch it, and the screen of the black phone was instantly dyed red by blood without any warning. The last 5-star mission, the Castle of Nightmares, has been forcibly triggered. There is no time constraint to this mission. Completing parts of this mission will grant intermittent reward. The mission will be considered over only once all the black fog has been cleared away. His eyes scanned the screen. Chen Ji realized this last mission that he triggered no longer had the term trial inside it. This mission was kindness, real purpose all along. However, Chen Ji did not mind that much about these missions now. He looked through the rest of the phone and finally found the thing that he was looking for at the contact list. Black Phone's contact list had been sealed up before this, but after it was fixed by kindness, there was an additional number in the contact list. This should be a very special number for kindness. You have saved so many lost souls at the Red City, but I am not as great as you. The only soul that I can try to save is yours. Chen Ji memorized that number. I will remember your connection to this family. As long as I am alive, your lingering spirit with the family will never dissipate. Putting the black phone away, Chen Ji went to check up on his parents. They still had not awakened, but they already looked much better than when they were still behind the door. Chen Ji had Luo Royu temporarily take care of his parents. After giving some information to his employees, he carried his backpack and got onto the theme parks bus. On the surface, it looked like Zhang Jingjiu was driving, but in reality, the bus was controlled by Tang Jun, who had a wealth of experience when it came to motor vehicles. It was unwise to get on the highway considering he had a bus filled with missing persons. So when Chen Ji's group reached Xinhai, it was already afternoon. He once again summoned out Zhang Yi to edit part of the passenger's memory, and then he had his employees personally escort each of them home. I help whenever I can. This is the most that I can do for them. Chen Ji patted Zhang Jingjiu on his shoulder. Jingjiu, you have gone through a lot for me this time. From now on, you will be the owner of the Haunted House's Xinhai branch. I will leave the business in your capable hands. Make me proud. Chen Ji drove the bus to Nightmare Academy. After leaving behind a few specters to aid Zhang Jingjiu in his business, Chen Ji hurried over to Xinhai police station. After giving the law enforcement some clues about the cursed hospital, he stopped by to try to inspect the police's case progress. After ensuring the police investigation did not target him, Chen Ji had the idea of staying behind to help the Xinhai police, but when he switched on his own phone that had died from lack of battery with the charger provided by the Xinhai police, he realized he had received multiple messages during the period when he was among. Some of them came from Director Luo, Li Zhang as well as Su Wan and the other haunted house employees. After he clicked open the messages, Chen Ji's heart immediately jumped to his throat. When Su Wan and the gang arrived at the haunted house this morning, they stumbled across Chen Ji's parents who were lying unconscious in the staff break room. Su Wan immediately contacted Director Luo. They decided on the spot to send Chen Ji's parents to the best hospital at Jiujiang. Being given the news that 2 people who were supposed to be missing had suddenly returned, Li Sanbao and Captain Yan, who were responsible for their cases, were given the shock of their lives. A few police cars blocked the entrance to the theme park early in the morning. The site had given quite a lot for the visitors to talk about. Actually, the news that missing persons had been found was nothing special. The key issue here was the victims were Chen Ji's parents. Once the Jiujiang police made the connection that Chen Ji, the man who had single-handedly filled up 2 of the rooms at the police station with case files, had been searching for his parents, they got panicked instantly. Their subconscious told them that something big was about to happen. In fact, a criminal psychologist attached to the Jiujiang police station even named this phenomenon as the Chen Ji effect. The police cars cleared the street and the patrols guarded the crowd. Those who did not know probably thought there were some kind of super criminals lying inside the ambulance. The recovery lasted from morning until late night. Chen Ji's parents finally awakened from their coma. Everyone was calling to reach Chen Ji, but Chen Ji's own phone had already died a long time ago due to a lack of power. It was not until now that he was caught up to the latest news. After bidding farewell to the people at Xinhai police station, Chen Ji rushed through the night to head back to Jiujiang. He had the taxi driver drop him directly at the hospital. It was already past 10 p.m. at night, but second floor of Jiujiang People's Hospital was still bustling with people. Some of them were law enforcement, others were employees from the theme park and haunted house. Both parties stood at the sides of the corridor. They were all dressed in their uniform, giving off an imposing presence. "The boss is here, boss over here. Chen Ji, where have you been? Why do you only get here now?" Walking through the crowd, Chen Ji stopped before the ward. He grabbed the doorknob of the door, but he felt the lack of courage to push open the door. He had not hesitated this much when he was dealing with red specters at the world behind the door. Taking in a deep breath, Chen Ji slowly pushed the door open. His eyes focused on the bed. When Chen Ji saw the pair of couple in patient's garb resting in bed, his eyes turned red almost immediately. An indescribable joy and grievances filled up his heart. The corner of his lips tremored, but he found he had lost the ability of speech. It was as if the moment he opened his mouth, the waterworks would start running. "Chen Ji, what's wrong with you? There is no need to cry, we simply have not met each other for one night." Chen Zio sat up from his bed. Just like normal, he walked openly to Chen Ji's side and curled his arm around his son's neck. Then he used his other hand to close the door of the ward. "We have not met each other for just one night." Chen Ji looked at his father next to him. "Does neither of you remember anything anymore? You only remember we had an argument with you about the haunted house yesterday night. You said you do not wish to take over the haunted house because you want to go and pursue a more lucrative job opportunity at a bigger city like Xinhai." Chen Zio said with as much levity as he could muster. He tried his best to make this whole thing appear as light-hearted as he could, but his red-rimmed eyes had belied many things. Chen Ji's mother walked over as well. She did not speak. She merely gave Chen Ji a tight hug and refused to let go. Obviously, they were merely pretending to have lost their memory. The pain that they had suffered over this past year was something a normal person could never even attempt to fathom. However, they did not wish to apply more pressure on their son, and they did not wish for their son to take on the pain on their behalf. They had not done anything wrong. If anything, they had done everything within their power to try to fix everything, but their eyes that looked at Chen Ji was filled with heartache and pain. The couple who knew that truth also knew very well that how much pain and despair Chen Ji must have gone through to rescue them. A normal person needed to rescue people from deep inside the cursed hospital, which was inhabited by several demon gods. That was almost impossible, but Chen Ji had done it. Chen Xiang could not manage some semblance of normal conversation, but Chen Ji's mother had some trouble controlling her own emotions. "The painful days are finally behind us. By the way, you guys have not visited our current haunted house, right? During the period when you were asleep, I have given the place a total makeover. In fact, our haunted house is now the top in the business in the entire country. I have also just opened a branch at Xin Hai. Chenji switched the subject. He had a gentle smile on his face as he gloated like a child. Our haunted house can become the top in the business in the entire country. Chen Xiang was too submerged in the joy of the reunion to really catch what Chen Ji was actually saying. Yes, let us go home now. After we enter the haunted house, I am sure you will be in for a great shock. The doctors had already examined both of their bodies. They were in tip-top condition. They were released out from the hospital that night. After thanking everyone who came over to visit them, the family of 3 got into a taxi. Along the way, they chatted about many things, and Chen Ji finally found out the real reason behind his parents' disappearance. Other than using kindness body to influence the Red City, the hospital director also made use of the connection between the shadow and Chen Ji to silently plant a curse on Chen Ji. At the time, Chen Ji was at the fringe of death. Both Chen Ji at the Red City and in real life were impacted. If this was allowed to continue, both Chen Ji's kindness and evil spirit would be facing a big problem. Chen Ji's parents were cornered, and that was why they had decided to work together with Chen Xiang inside the Red City to launch a counterattack. When they reached the haunted house, it was already about 11:3 p.m. There was no one at the theme park, the lights were all off, and the place was completely deserted. Seeing the haunted house, which had not changed that much, Chen Ji's father adjusted the sense of anticipation in his mind, but he did not voice it out loud. But he had underestimated Chen Ji. If there was anything Chen Ji had learned from Dr. Gao, it was the ability to read people's mind. Just from the micro-expression, Chen Ji managed to see through Chen Xiang's thought. Dad, the real change is inside the haunted house. Chen Ji pulled back the gates and pulled up the curtain. Hearing Chen Ji's words, Chen Ji's mother pinched her husband on his back and then even glared at him. Chen Ji's father shrugged rather innocently. They followed Chen Ji into the haunted house. Most of the employees and the new scenarios are situated underground. Chen Ji removed the chains from the howling door. He pushed with both arms, and the door that led underground yawned open. A chilling breeze leaked out from deep underground. The temperature inside the haunted house dropped almost instantly. Underground, the 3 of them walked down the steps. Then they heard a rehearsed greeting. "Good evening, boss." They glanced down the horizon. The underground city below the haunted house appeared to stretch down the horizon, and there were so many kinds of lingering spirits, baleful specters and red specters residing in the city. There were so many of them. Even Chen Ji's parents, who had been through a lot, had frozen on the steps. Were they still outside the door? There were ghost students, doctors, teachers, gambler, manga artist. There was even a ghost director. "Uncle, Auntie, nice to meet you." Before Chen Ji's parents could snap out of it, the employees sent them another wave of greeting. Chang Gu was at the side controlling the lights and directing the crowd. Picking the headless woman's head that had fallen to the ground due to excitement, Chen Ji very naturally placed the human head back into headless woman's embrace. He was very satisfied with his employees' reaction. He had done a great job at business management. The scene before their eyes was a lot to take in. While Chen Ji's parents were still digesting the information, Chen Ji came over to them again. "Dad, Mum, actually there is something else that I need to tell you. I have encountered a very nice girl. Perhaps tomorrow all of you can go out for a meal together." With the gentlest smile on his face, Chen Ji turned back to glance at his own shadow. "She is a very nice girl, but before you meet you, I think you better get mentally prepared. You have already given us a surprise like this. What else can shock us anymore?" Chen Zio and Chen Ji's mother, Su Meng, stood at the steps. They were hesitating whether to continue moving down the stairs or not. "Then I will call her out now." Chen Ji turned to address his shadow and called out softly, "Zhangya, why don't you come out and meet my parents?" Ripples started to form on the dark shadow. Then the entire New Century theme park started to shadow. A terrifying presence that could not be hidden had suddenly appeared. Chapter 12:11, End My House of Horrors. The red dress flowed like blood. It was decorated with the black patterns that radiated power. Resentment and despair coagulated into actual materials to act as decoration. Zhangya stepped out of Chen Ji's shadow, stomping on the wailing of dead souls. The horror that surpassed red specters stunned everyone. Who would have thought beauty could be so mesmerizing and captivating? Chen Zio and Su Meng stood dumbly on the steps. Both of them had been shocked out of their mind. "A demon god? The girl that you speak of is a demon god." Due to how overly agitated he was, Chen Ji's father found his words stammering. He could guess that Chen Ji would find specters to work for him, and he would have known that the haunted house would continue to flourish under Chen Ji's management, but it never even crossed his mind that his son would one day bring back a demon god to meet them. "Yes, her name is Zhangya." Chen Ji very naturally reached out to hold Zhang Ye's hand. This caused Su Meng and Chen Zio's eyes to twitch. They were worried that Zhang Ye might suddenly reach out to snap Chen Ji's neck due to anger. The two of them had just awakened from their coma. When they returned to the haunted house, they had been introduced to a non-stop series of trauma. In fact, the two of them had started to suspect whether they had fallen back into the hospital director's illusion. But once they gave it some thought, they realized that could not be true because even the cursed hospital would not make up something like this. Other than his good personality, what other positive traits that you see in him? Su Meng turned to ask Zhang Ye. She watched Chen Ji grow up under her nose. She knew that her son was incredibly wonderful, but that was only in comparison to other people. Facing Chen Ji's mother's question, Zhang Ye was as silent as before. She even nudged even closer to hide behind Chen Ji. Those with eyes could see that this demon god had a very heavy reliance on Chen Ji. We have gone through so much together. How about we take a tour of the haunted house for now, and then we can find a time to sit down and chat over it. We can tour the haunted house anytime. I think we should focus on Zhang Ye for now. Chen Zio and Su Meng said at the same time. Their own son was in a romantic relationship and a demon god. The tour of the haunted house could wait indefinitely until they got to the bottom of this. Aren't you guys tired? It is almost midnight already, Chen Ji said with a bitter smile on his face. He was not expecting his father and mother to have such a big reaction to this development. We have been asleep for a whole year already. We cannot be more refreshed even if we try. Okay then, I will go find us a restaurant, and we can get a gathering there. Chen Ji summoned all of his employees. He switched on his phone and selected a high-class restaurant at Jiujiang which had a ballroom to rent. There were currently too many employees at the haunted house that they could not all fit into Yan Danian's manga anymore. Therefore, many baleful specters and lingering spirits had no choice but to masquerade as Chen Ji's shadow. Carrying the backpack, once Chen Ji departed from the theme park, the whole street was submerged under an oppressive atmosphere. The parade of 100 ghosts was not enough to describe that horror and terror. There was no taxi on the road. Chen Ji had Tang Jun drive the last bus of Route 104. He was to ferry Chen Ji, his parents as well as his other colleagues to the restaurant that was lucky enough to be selected by Chen Ji. It was already midnight, so naturally the restaurant was already closed for business. Chen Ji first had Zhang Ye come out to edit the security's memory, and then he had Qiyume and Tong Tong sneak into the surveillance center to temporarily shut down all the cameras. After all of that were done, he flipped through the manga, and one after another employees walked out. The employees who were good at cooking voluntarily walked into the kitchen. The lingering spirits of the students were very excited as they chattered among themselves. There was nothing they loved more than this kind of outing. Seeing how the employees cooperate among themselves as they set up the restaurant, the whole scene felt so surreal to Chen Zio and Su Meng. The reason behind specters' existence was their resentment. They were creatures of pure resentment and hatred, so they would never expect that the specters would be able to coexist harmoniously with Chen Ji. We will be booking the whole place tonight. After the sun comes up, I will pay, of course. Chen Ji showed off the money in his bank account through his phone. I am not that interested in money. This number is just a bonus from the expansion of the haunted house. Before Chen Ji could continue, he was knocked lightly on his head by his father. If you are not interested in that, feel free to donate some to me. Ever since my wedding, I have not seen that much money in my life anymore. The family of 3 walked into the restaurant chatting and joking among themselves. They came to the VIP lounge that was situated at the top floor. At this place, they were given the perfect view of the entire Jiujiang at night. The employees started to serve the food, and Chen Ji summoned out Zhang Ye. Initially, Chen Ji's parents were worried about Chen Ji and Zhang Ye. They kept asking them about their plan for the future. They wanted to know how they were going to spend their lives together. But once Chen Ji brought up Zhang Ye's past, and the things that they had gone through together, the attitude Chen Ji's parents had towards them had a complete 180. This was especially true for Su Meng. She moved her chair to sit right next to Zhang Ye, like Zhang Ye was already her own daughter. She held Zhang Ye's hands out of empathy, and she whispered something to Zhang Ye. Su Meng and Chen Zio were particularly kind individuals. A long time they had adopted the soul of Luo Royu. At the time, Chen Ji had the feeling that they treated the adopted Luo Royu much better than they did him. Now this incident appeared to be repeating itself. Su Meng stopped asking about Zhang Ye's past. Instead, she turned her attention onto Chen Ji. She hoped that Chen Ji understood a relationship was a completely different thing from a promise to spend a lifetime together. She wanted Chen Ji to think very clearly about this and take every single preparation that he could. She did not wish for any one of the two to get hurt from this. The party lasted for a long time. The employees technically were unable to consume alcohol, but they appeared to be on quite a buzz. They talked and laughed among themselves. A simple bliss was buried deep inside their heart. Before this, they were tortured and entrapped by the memory from their past, but because of their encounter with Chen Ji, they could now openly discuss their future with others. The night was eventually coming to an end. Just as the sun was about to come up, the employees worked together to replace everything back to its place. Comparing the items that they had exhausted, Chen Ji drew some money out from the bank and placed them on the counter. He also left behind a note, of course. The note was written by one of the employees as well. Walking out from the restaurant, Chen Ji's parents carried Chen Ji's backpack and told him they were going to head back home first. They wanted to give Chen Ji and Zhang Ya some alone time. Both of them had walked this path before. They knew that Chen Ji and Zhang Ya probably had plenty of things to talk about after the meeting with the boys' parents, so they did not want to stand in the way and disturb them. A black hair fluttered in the mind. Chen Ji and Zhang Ya strode down the deserted street. This whole scene felt like a déjà vu. They appeared to have been through something similar in a dream before. The various memories from the past rose in their heart. The two of them sidled close to each other. They walked through the night to welcome the arrival of a new day. Tomorrow, we shall go to the registry office to make some inquiry. It is about time we put down the past and try to start a new chapter in our life. The sun rose up like normal, and the sunlight chased away the darkness. New Century Park opened for business at 9 a.m. A very long queue had already lined up in front of the haunted house. "Senior, you are still recovering from your injury. How about we skip the tour today?" He-san was trying his best to leave, but unfortunately he was under great scrutiny from Zhuo-han. "There is going to be a new scenario opening to the public today. Even if we are not going to visit it, it is fun coming here to watch other people make the attempt." Zhuo-han swept the group from Jiujiang Medical University behind him. His brows were screwed together. "Where is Gao Ruxu?" She still refused to come. "Yes, Senior said she is not feeling so well." "In that case, we shall go visit her together one day." Zhuo-han still had something else he wanted to say, but his words were cut off by the hubbub that came from the crowd. "What the fuck? The new scenario is now open. It is a 4-star scenario. It's called the Cursed Hospital, the 19 floors that lead down to hell. Quick, who has contact with Brother Gang? It is about time he comes back to challenge the haunted house again. Brother Gang is still resting at the hospital. Please refrain from interrupting the poor live streamer." Once the promotional announcement in front of the haunted house was changed, the visitors got instantly excited. Everyone was feeling the urge to make the first batch of challengers, but no one actually was brave enough to put that thought into action. "What a bunch of cowards." Moments later, a balding uncle walked out from the crowd. He strode directly to stop before Uncle Sue. "The ticket for the 4-star scenario has a different appearance from the ticket for the other scenario, right?" "Yes, the ticket for the 4-star scenario is black and red in color." Uncle Sue was about the same age as this balding, middle-aged man. "But I suggest that you start with a less challenging scenario for now." "Thanks for the advice, but I would like a ticket for the Cursed Hospital, please." The balding uncle insisted. The surrounding visitors all focused their eyes on him. "Are you sure?" Uncle Sue asked the question again. After ensuring the man did not have a suicide wish, Uncle Sue finally gave him a ticket. After accepting the ticket to the 4-star scenario, Cursed Hospital, the balding uncle took out his phone, stood in front of the haunted house gates and took a selfie holding the ticket. And then he proceeded to share it among his friend group. "It is yet another spring day, the perfect weather to go out for an adventure. My personal recommendation is the 4-star scenario at New Century Park's haunted house. I have just finished my tour of it. I was so frightened that my body is now covered in cold sweat." After snapping the picture, he chuckled while reading the messages left by his friends, and then he left just like that. "Wait, haven't that uncle been here before? How come he looks so familiar to me? I remember it now. When the scenario for Minghun was first open, he had been here to take selfies as well." There was none of the visitors who dared to enter the Cursed Hospital to visit, but there were quite a number of them who bought the ticket to share on social media. Now that Chen Ji's haunted house had reached such a high popularity, there were not that many warriors who dared to challenge the newly unlocked scenario. No one was dumb enough to be the willing lab rats. After all, other people's haunted house normally would be attached to a small souvenir shop, but for Chen Ji's haunted house, there were 2 smaller rooms at the room. One was fitted with the best medical equipment, and there were doctors standing by for 24 hours. The other small room was a vendor for underwear. According to legend, it was because of the high demand at Chen Ji's haunted house that an undergarment company found the business opportunity and made a business deal with Chen Ji. It was a mutually beneficial arrangement. With such a setup, who dared to volunteer to explore the new scenario? After waiting for half a day, there was still no visitor who dared to challenge the new scenario. Chenji decided to leave the haunted house, however, he did not leave alone. A middle-aged woman was seen leaving with him. That was Gaoruxu's mother. Chenji personally escorted the woman back to Gaoruxu's home. He did not choose to lie or omit, but decided to tell Gaoruxu the whole truth. Leaving the mother and daughter to their reunion, Chenji silently retreated out from the room. Small drizzle was falling when he came outside, but Chenji did not mind it. He rushed then to Jiujiang's children home and worked through the red tape to adopt Fan Yu and Ying Tong. Initially, he wanted to adopt the other few children as well, but the procedure would not allow it. The reason that he could successfully adopt Fan Yu and Ying Tong was because the children's home had taken into consideration the two boys' unique situation, and hence they allowed for this exception. Taking Fan Yu and Ying Tong back to the haunted house was something that Chenji had planned a long time ago. His goal was for them to inherit the haunted house, and they would eventually one day become the new owner of the Castle of Nightmares. After dealing with all these things, Chenji grabbed some of his documents and made his next journey to the government registry office. The rain outside was getting heavier. When Chenji arrived at his destination, there was only one worker there. The woman expressed her regret for failing to complete Chenji's wish, but she did not reject him fully. Instead, she had given Chenji the promise that she would help him figure something out. After knowing the result, Chenji was rather disappointed, even though he already suspected this outcome before he came to the office. The barrier between human and ghost was too large. It was really difficult for them to come in contact with each other. The theme park closed for business at 6 p.m. Chenji closed himself up in the staff break room. He was writing down the plans that he had for the future. After who knew how long, a big white cat jumped onto the table carrying a doll on its back. Then came the knocking. Chenji's parents were standing at the door. "Chenji, the employees have planned something for you. Why don't you come out to take a look?" "The employees have prepared something for me?" Chenji put down the pencil he was holding. He walked out of the staff break room. The haunted house appeared to be incredibly quiet that night, like all the ghosts had gone mission. "Are they outside?" Pulling back the thick curtains, the blinking fairy lights glittered like a dreamscape. They were as brilliant as the stars in the night sky. New Century Park was usually so quiet at night, but that day, it was as bright as day. The employees had prepared so many things to transform this place into a scenery that looked as if it had been pulled right out of a fairy tale. "What is all these? What are you guys up to?" Before Chenji could finish, Aljo walked towards him. He handed a small box that was expensive and exquisite over to Chenji. "All of us have combined our money to purchase this. This is as far as we can help you." Walking out from the haunted house, Chenji was led by his employees to the Ferris wheel. This was the center of the theme park. Holding the small box, Chenji was rather flustered. He looked around him. His parents and his employees were looking at him with eyes of anticipation and encouragement. The Ferris wheel behind him started to move slowly. The lights chased away the darkness and the cold. Chenji sucked in a deep breath. He held up the small box with one hand. He uttered softly, "Zhangya." Captivating beauty floated up behind Chenji. Like usual, she had been guarding at Chenji's side. Turning around, Chenji looked at Zhangya. With everyone watching him, Chenji knelt on one knee as he opened the small box. "For our lives together, we shall stay like each other's shadow. That is the promise that I have given you." He lifted the wedding ring out from the box and slid in on Zhangya's finger. Chenji asked the question in the gentlest voice, "Will you marry me?" Zhangya did not expect Chenji to pose the question. The blood in her eyes faded away. The heart of the demon god started to race with excitement. After a long time, Zhangya leaned on Chenji. She looked into Chenji's eyes and her lips moved slightly. "I will." Pulling himself up, Chenji pulled Zhangya into a warm hug. "I will stay by your side forever so that you will never be alone and sad again." In the brightly lit theme park, under the slowly turning Ferris wheel, Chenji and Zhangya embraced each other. It appeared like they were embracing the goodness of the world at the same time. The employees who did not even dare to breathe too loudly all exploded into cheers when they saw this. They were feeling actual joy from the bottom of their hearts. That night, New Century Park lit up like 4th of July, the employees' parties into the night. Many citizens that lived near the theme park and the cars that passed the place all witnessed then. From that night onwards, another scary urban legend appeared at Jiujiang. After midnight, some of the attractions at a theme park at Western Jiujiang would move on their own, and even though the place was supposed to be close already, you could hear the laughter and cheers of the visitors. According to some trusted insider information, the reason behind this ghost story probably had to do with a haunted house situated inside the theme park. Some people said that place was heaven on earth. Others called it the 19th floor of hell. Some even claimed that the place connected nightmare and reality. It was the presentation of deepest despair and also permanent salvation. End